Cryptocurrency funded every kind of dangerous criminal.
But I would not touch crypto in a million years.
Bitcoin is going to zero.
If I was the government, I'd close it down.
People are losing money in scams and huckster flim-flam artists.
These people who own these things should not own your money in any of those. I do think you're an idiot, okay?
It's over.
Go fuck yourself.
I hope it is. Is that clear?
A day after Bitcoin hits 100,000, and I've got people telling me or asking me if they should be selling their mining stocks and buying Tesla. It's awesome, 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 awesome. Good times, good times. So we got a lot to talk about today. One, Bitcoin. We should be seeing it above 100K. I would even guess maybe today. There's a reason I say that. You guys might be new here. It's very possible. There's probably a bunch of people that are, but this is what we want. If this is your first Bitcoin cycle, okay, I get that volatility could be scary. I get it. I totally get it. But it's not. This is exactly what we want to see. This is the stuff we want to see. We want to see a flush out. Now, could we have melted up? We could have melted up, but we'll talk about why that didn't happen in a little bit here, but this is good. This is good. I just want to reiterate, this is good. Testing back to the .618 Fibonacci, rocketing back up above the previous trade zone, this bullish pennant that we broke out of, and back testing it as support does not mean Bitcoin is going to zero. It does not mean you should sell all your miners and buy Tesla. You don't buy the thing that's going up a lot. You sell some of it, and you buy the things that you have high conviction in that are going down. That's how it works. That's why I bought $130,000 worth of MSTU and MSTX yesterday when Tesla was going up, right? I took 10, 11% gains on Tesla options, of which I had over 2 million. And then I bought something that was down roughly 10% on the day. It's called... Anyway, it's the way to do it, guys. This is the way. You don't yeah, I don't know. Bitcoin just broke 100,000, and I played that video for a reason, because the way people act with their emotions just makes me laugh. And again, if you're totally new here, I get it. If you've been around 2 or 3 cycles, I mean, what's your fucking problem? You should understand how this works by now. But again, it's just kind of funny. This is beautiful. The only thing I'd like to see, just to confirm the beauty, is getting above 98.5 and holding it as support. Once we do that, I mean, it's game over. Also, lots more to talk about today. We got jobs-related data. Lots of that, right? That's going to have, people believe, heavy impact on whether or not we cut rates in December. I don't think that's going to change anything at all. But I do have estimates on what we believe those are going to be. We'll talk about those. Altcoins appear to be bouncing back a little bit. We can see BTC dominance. Let me see here. I think I got it somewhere. Do I have it somewhere? Nope. It's in here somewhere. Oh, you know what? Maybe I closed it. Whatever. We can bring it up later. BTC dominance is actually dropping down underneath where it was, finding support on that 7-year trend line. So we're seeing that coming down. That's pretty normal too. I think this is good. The lion's share said, yo, first cycle for me, but I think I'm hodling like a champ. These 2x leverage plays still bullish. All right, good for you, man. Good for you. Very smart. Again, if you're new here, you have really good excuses. If you've been here a long time and you still haven't figured it out, you probably need to listen to better people or do more research or something. But yeah, so it looks like altcoins gaining some strength. I don't know, maybe that's off of news that David Sachs, I think it's head of crypto council or whatever. We're looking at like the perfect storm for altcoin and Bitcoin within the current administration, and that's going to be starting in a month. It's super exciting. We also have an article about China getting ready to dump their rates at the fastest rate in over a decade. Going down to the 1% range to try and stimulate their economy this next year. They're going to have to do that and a bunch of money printing. It's going to create capital outflows, but also somebody had indicated, hey, wouldn't this be good for Tesla EVs if China starts lowering rates? Yes, it would be, right? It would be. It would help out a lot. So that's going to be interesting. We'll talk about some of that. The move in the VIX index, we'll show you just a little bit here, continue to go down. Again, bond volatility going down is good. It is good. VIX volatility going down is good. These are all good things. We don't hate these things at all. We don't hate where we are on the VIX right now with one of the largest crushes in history. Let's see how oil's doing today. What's happening with oil, guys? Oh, oil's getting ready to break down. It's at $67 a barrel. Imagine how bullish people get about the potential for the economy when base costs for service and transportation and everything go down because oil is in the 50s. And that's still on track to happen. I think you should probably be pretty excited about that too. Now, we also have this thing called the CNN Fear and Greed Index, and it's neutral. It's neutral. Don't get me wrong. The Bitcoin crypto is higher. But this is good. This is good. This is a really good setup for Tesla and a bunch of others. When you have neutral status on the stocks, and you're getting ready to explode higher and melt up into a Christmas rally, which I think is exactly what's happening. My thesis on that hasn't changed one bit. And again, the CME Fed Watch tool. What are we looking at for rate cuts coming up before today's job data? Let's just look at that. Tesla ready to launch. I mean, it has been launching a lot. So we did go lower. 68.5% is the current. So it's 2-to-1 right now, a little over 2-to-1 for a chance of lowering rates by 25 bips. I think it's like basically a guarantee. And I think a lot of people are going to overlook economic data today too. And why do I say that? And yeah, we will look at Tesla. Tesla's going to do great, guys. Tesla's going to do great. Lots of good stuff happening in Tesla. But yeah, what was I going to do? U.S. economic, maybe I was going there. Job cut announcements. Okay, so let's go over here. Job cut announcements. My buddy Liz Ann Saunders, I love her, says in the retail industry fell sharply in November. Largest decline so far this year. So not a lot of job cuts heading into the retail season. I mean, that kind of makes sense, right? And also, jobs data will look stronger most likely today. Why would it look stronger today? Well, because we've got all the after effects of the pandemic, and then we're heading into retail season. This is the biggest shopping season in the United States for the entire year. So I think jobs data is going to look a little bit better. And my buddy Lance Roberts, he's a good guy to follow. He's very old school, but he's pretty smart. Don't always agree with his opinions, maybe like 80% of them. He said today's employment report will set the tone for the markets today as expectations for a rate cut on December 18th will live and die by the print. I actually don't agree with that. But consensus is at 215,000. Let's see where we land. Also, when is all that stuff coming out? Let's take a look here real quickly at the economic calendar before we get too far down the rabbit hole. Thank you to the 400-ish people that are here. Not quite 420, if we could get a few more. All right, let's see here. Let's see. Got a bunch of stuff. We got Germany, we got Great Britain, we got Hong Kong, we got Mexico, we got Canada coming in here at 7:30. We got U.S. non-farm payrolls, unemployment rate. These are going to be the big things that are really going to move markets today. Average hourly earnings, participation rate, government payrolls, manufacturing payrolls, non-farm payrolls, private. All the data. And then we have a ton of Fed speak. I believe we have like 6 or 7 Fed people speaking today. It's somewhere. And at the same time, where I think 3 of them are voting members. So there's a lot. How's PayPal look? We can look at PayPal. I mean, I think PayPal is going to be amazing. To be clear, they're crushing it this shopping season. They've given tons of indications in the data that they're crushing it this shopping season. And I think Q4 is going to look amazing. So I think it's going to do really, really well. We can look at some of that in a little bit here too. Remind me later. But But yeah, so I see the perfect storm for markets going up. And this Tesla, the stock heat map showing Tesla up another 2% today says a lot too. It says a lot, guys. We got a lot of good stuff sitting in front of us right now. Yeah, Santa Claus rally, it's still very much in full effect. And I might trim just a little bit more on Tesla today. We'll see. I took a lot yesterday, more than I wanted to. I took 6% of my position out. I've officially now taken over 25. I think it's 28% of my position, maybe 30%. But to be clear, guys, I've made so much money off of that. It would be irrational for me not to take an opportunity to cash some of that out. I mean, I was buying heavy into here, in the 200s. I was buying heavy into this, and earlier. And so it's like, why wouldn't you take profits when you've made that much money and put it into Bitcoin, something that's getting ready to explode higher? Chris John, do we get out of PayPal after Q4? I'm not. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I'm not. Right now, I'm just focused on taking some of those profits and then probably cycling them into Bitcoin in Q4. And maybe back into Tesla. It just depends on how things. You never really know short term with timing what's going to happen. You've got technical patterns. You've got the macro dynamics behind you. You've got, you're oscillating back and forth. You've got, there's so much that happens in markets, guys, and just directionality. You've got sector rotation. You've got all these things that can happen. So all you can do, I think the best thing to do is diversify between a bunch of really badass asymmetric plays. Try and incorporate hedges where you can, when you can, and then go from there. That's what I'm thinking. I was dreaming last night, I guess, about MicroStrategy hedges. I don't know. I had Michael Saylor in my dreams. Got to be a good sign. Got to be a good sign. So again, we're getting close, though, for Tesla. We're getting close to my target. I mean, we're right here, guys. Remember when I called this? Does anybody remember in the Wayback Machine when we were over here and I said, hey, guys, we're getting ready to break out to 420, and now we're here? Does anybody remember that? I think I do. If nothing else, we got my memory for it, which is not usually good. Jesse, do you remember Blade? I asked you, and you liked it. It broke out. Yeah, everything's breaking out. I mean, that's not too surprising, Rocket Man. Everything's going, and I don't remember Blade, honestly. I look at so many. You guys have to realize, you guys probably give me 20 different tickers a day that you want me to know about, pay attention, and do research on. Not physically possible for me. Maybe in the future when I get a team of people I trust that I have analyze and come up with opportunities, that'll happen. Or maybe with the Discord, we'll develop that ourselves in there. But it's just super impossible for me to look at all these things and be a master of everything, okay? I just can't. Future history, MicroStrategy may not be able to sell stock at the money to raise capital as soon as they're advised of their upcoming NASDAQ admittance. Why? Why? And they're not even doing that right now. They're doing convertible debt bond offerings. Yeah, that makes absolutely no sense to me. And that makes no sense to me whatsoever. Yair and Panina Spolter, would you say Hood is better right now? Oh yeah, easily. It's like Hood is like 2/3 of the market cap of Coin, and Hood is growing like crazy. Don't bet against vampires, guys. Vlad is crushing this shit. He doesn't sleep. He's like up all the time, or maybe he sleeps during the day. I don't remember how vampires work, honestly. But Hood is a great investment. I think it's a great investment. If anything, I'm a little sad that I exited it, but I'm also looking towards the future where I think I'm going to get a much higher asymmetric bet. So I'm not too worried. Jesse, did you close? I still get this question all the time. Did I close my SoFi position? I have owned virtually no SoFi for a very, very long time. It wasn't asymmetric enough for me. I literally have my portfolio allocation shared out on X and Discord for anybody who subs. So you can look right there and see it. I'm very happy. I was talking about bank sector rotation before anybody. Again, it's a cyclical, and we're looking at a great environment with rates coming down. So I knew it was coming. It wasn't a big enough asymmetric bet for me. There's way too many other opportunities out there that I was looking at, and the options contracts just did not look good enough. So yes, I've been out for months and months and months. So if you guys sub, you'll know that. All right, what do we got here? 7-Eleven. That used to be a gas station. How many people remember that? Let's see. We got British Hodl. He's always interesting. Let's pull him up. Thank you, Future History. Turns out Saylor cannot sell stock at the money to raise capital as soon as they're advised of their upcoming... this is the guy. Okay. Of their upcoming NASDAQ admittance. This means they're told they're getting in tomorrow. They cannot sell any stock at the money until Friday the 13th when the announcement is made. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, okay. All right, so let's see. Why do I care? This could make sense as to why MicroStrategy. Okay, now I got you. Thank you, Future. And whoever else. I don't know if you were the person who originally brought it up. Okay, thank you for this. This could make sense as to why MicroStrategy has hard dumped a lot of shares into the market today to raise the capital to buy Bitcoin next week while they're locked out. If this is true, price should be rising next week. And also, if they keep hitting the ATM next week, so this is for the NASDAQ 100, right? Is it the 100? I think we're going for the 100 for the listing. It could signal that they have not actually been admitted into the NASDAQ. If they keep hitting the ATM next week, okay, that's super helpful, dude. I really like that. Thank you. That is wonderful. Thank you very much. We're gonna throw that out to all the MicroStrategy peeps. I love that. Ooh, we got people talking about DOGE on Capitol Hill. Not the shitcoin, but the Department of Government Efficiency. I almost want to listen to that for a second, guys. Very excited about it. Sam Osborne, I remember I'm 178 in Tesla, but still waiting for the magic 420. S2V, what are the pros and cons of exercising or selling Hood $20 January 2025 calls? What are the pro cons? I mean, it depends. If you're exercising, you've got to have the money to be able to buy the stock, and each contract is 100 shares. So you probably want to make sure that that's good. Also, time going by, if it traded sideways between now and January, or let's say there's a big dump in January because people have made a shit ton of money off of Hood, I think that could happen. Then that would suck for you. So you might want to sell into the momentum and assume that people are going to have that. I'm sorry, we got Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy walking around on Capitol Hill. This is not something I can pass up. I want to go back here and just listen real quickly and see what they're talking about with DOGE on CNBC. So give me 1 second here. I'm just going to refresh. I'm going to pull back the clock a little bit here and just see what we're talking about. I don't care what this guy has to say, but I do want to hear about the DOGE. All right, here we go.
Congressman, I think we're all trying to understand what this is going to look like, what you believe Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy can accomplish, what they can accomplish without Congress, what they're going to need Congress for. Put some meat on the bones for us, because we've heard a lot about it, but I think we don't really know where this all can go.
Well, there's great excitement. They stormed Capitol Hill yesterday. They were very well received. We had some private meetings, and then we also had a general caucus meeting at the behest of the speaker, where there was just, I can't tell you the buzz. It was almost like a rock concert or a Super Bowl, or because so many people came out to greet them and to take part. They're going to go. They're going to go to work. They're going to go to work, and they're going to use the president's pen to do a lot of restructuring and making America lean. We want to assist them because we know anything that can be done with the pen can be undone with the pen. So Congress is there. We've created this DOGE caucus, and we want to bring support to Elon and Vivek.
What is on the list in your mind? People talk about waste, fraud, and abuse. We've talked about that for a long time. You could look in a lot of different departments for that, including the Defense Department and others. What's off limits? What's on? There's been comments made about even things like Social Security and the like. Tell us sort of how you're thinking about this.
I think we're going to start with waste. First of all, there's no wrong answer where to start. There's so much to be done. There's good gravy. We haven't had an exercise like this in 25 years. So the waste, and there was much discussion, so few federal employees are back at their offices and back at their desks full time. So few. We have billions of square footage that is sitting empty right now. So I think we need to realign First of all, can we get these federal employees back to work, but also realign? It costs us billions of dollars each month to maintain these buildings. That's probably an easy layup of reassessing where we are to make things
that actually
right
raises
there.
an interesting question, though. I mean, there have been suggestions that we should be selling buildings. The U.S. government should be selling real estate. But if we're going to sell real estate, then there's a secondary question, which is, I think somebody like Elon Musk would say he wants workers in the office 5 days a week. There are others and other businesses, private businesses, that are doing sort of 3 or 4 days a week and think people can work from home, and other things like that can be more efficient. Could you imagine saying, okay, you know what, we're going to make a lot of money selling all this real estate, but we actually are going to have some government employees work from home?
Well, many have said that if they're forced to go back full-time, many will resign or take early retirement. I say we call their bluff. But it's not just owning buildings. We lease a lot of buildings, so we're paying for empty buildings. That just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to the American people. So that's a better job we could do. We've just never gone through this exercise before. So there's lots of low-hanging fruit there. As to your question of what's on the table, what's not on the table, everything is on the table.
The $2 trillion that you hear about, the $2 trillion, what is that? Is that over?
All right, never mind. With Dork and Sorkin, I just can't fucking do it. I can't do it. He's too stupid. He asks the dumbest fucking questions. It makes me lose my mind. All right, I just wanted to, this is weird. I need to look at DLO real quick, guys. Just a quick segue. So DLO, I haven't really been paying attention to this. I think I might have to. I was down like 60, 70%. I did a little bit of dip buying on this because I think it's, again, Latin America, I think is going to be really great. And so I did a little bit of dip buying. I'm down 12%. I was down like 70%. And I've got almost $100,000 in this. So real quickly, I just want to take a look and see why that is. I think, I knew I posted a while ago that we were going to have a really big bounce on this because there's a huge gap to fill, and at the very least, it sets it up with a really beautiful technical setup. But this is fascinating. So we've hit the .618. We still haven't filled our gap over here. That's still sitting there, and so that's going to come. You can see where I said, hey, we're going to break out over here. We did that up towards here, ready to fill the gap. By the time we fill the gap, we're on a downward trend line that goes back to August of 2023. Which means that, and it's so steep, means the likelihood of exploding higher is pretty good. And you can see exploding higher is kind of something that DLO does, even on the way down, right? And then we have this massive gap all the way up here to $45. I tell you what, guys, these options contracts might be one of my better trades the way things are going. I'll have over $100,000 in these things. 35 strike, I have until January of 2026. January of 2026. And wow, this is looking good. This is looking good. I mean, the mean reversion on this, guys, the mean reversion of what can happen here gets us up towards the 20s, and then we have all of the volume underneath of us to support us. So when we get up to this line and break above it, look at the volume candles, and it's like a step ladder. We're going to be climbing stairs, guys. This one has got me more and more interesting. And one of the reasons it's got me more and more interested is the financials on it are not bad. It's kind of like new. It's a great company, with even better. Like if you look at the forward PE, well, no, it's about the same now as new. But again, the growth on this, guys, net revenue retention was dropping. But when you look at transaction payment volume, pay-in and payouts, and then I think forward guidance, let's look. Yeah, forward guidance looks good too. Look at this. So this company is still in a growth stage. I don't know why. The red flags that I have for this are institutional ownership going down. I don't know if that's like a divestment from Latin America into American exceptionalism. I don't know, like you know what I mean? I don't know if this is something where it's a rotation from ETFs out of other, international plays and towards America so that they can, lock in and guarantee some of those returns. That's the only thing that really has me worried on DLO. Otherwise, this operating leverage, look at this. Look at the growth here in revenue versus operating expenses. There's a lot of good stuff in here. And again, my buddy who runs this platform, Alejandro, that runs visualstocks.com, he is a big proponent of this. And they got no debt, tons of cash, buying back shares. I don't know. And I love the fact that their research and development expenses are starting to get up there. 34 million and positive cash flow out of 185. This doesn't look bad to me. I don't know. I've got to pay more attention because it's an ever growing part of my portfolio evidently. Dude, so Sorkin is I know he's such an idiot. Chris John. Oh, hey, and thank you, Martin, for joining. Appreciate you. Chris John, where's the gap down for DLO? The gap down? The gap down. The gap down. There is no gap down, I don't think. Let me see here. There is no gap. I mean, there's no gap down here. The only gap is up here towards 13. And again, guys, this chart is shared on Discord. If you want my charts, they're on Discord. They have their own channels, so people could continue to have conversations about DLO in there. But if you look over here, again, this wicked gap up by 45, if that thing fills in the next year and this stock goes up 300% from where it is right now. New tweet from Saylor. New tweet from Saylor. Saylor tweet alert. Saylor tweet alert. Let's get in there. Oh, I don't even have to. He's right at the top of my list. Oh, I guess I screwed it up. All right, here we go. Oh my God, dude. Every time I listen to Saylor. Oh, I already posted this one, but I like it. So US spot ETFs. Now it's US spot ETFs for holdings, Satoshi Nakamoto, otherwise known as Hal Finney, Binance, and then our boy MicroStrategy. It wouldn't surprise me at all if by the end of 2025, MicroStrategy is ahead of Binance on the amount of Bitcoin that they hold, and only behind US spot ETFs and Satoshi Nakamoto himself. People don't realize this, guys. Michael Saylor is the continuation of Satoshi Nakamoto. I need to probably do a separate video where I talk about it, but what he's doing for Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto gave us the tools. He gave us the tools, right? He gave us this wonderful network called Bitcoin. Michael Saylor is showing us how we get adoption and accelerate it at a rapid pace. He is the continuation of Satoshi Nakamoto. You should listen to everything he says. Everything. You should listen to him like he's Elon Musk. And if you don't do that, you're going to miss out. I just want to be very clear. You're going to miss out on a lot of money. So wake the fuck up. All right, we got a lot of bookmarks to go through real quick, guys. Sam Osborne says, if DOGE succeeds in its goals of reducing debt, waste, and improving efficiencies, what impact do you see, Jesse, on risk on assets and their proxies? I see both negative and positive. I see hugely positive. Throw out your thoughts on the negative, and we can talk about them, Sam. If they improve government efficiency, so to be clear, what they're looking to do is let people go, but give them 2 years worth of income, which I've said numerous times helps the bond market significantly, because people will start investing in this country again, knowing that our debts are going to be balanced and be able to be paid back. That's the biggest reason why people aren't buying our long-dated treasuries and why we're issuing shorter ones to keep the longer end of the curve down, is because we know we don't want to sell 20, 30s, or 10-year bonds at really high interest rates, so we've stopped giving them liquidity completely. And without liquidity, we don't have to worry about the yield going up a lot, right? We don't want the yield to go up a lot. And we don't want to issue yield on really high interest, because that's locking in debt obligations at high interest rates for a very long time for the United States. And we don't want that, right? Christopher Martin, thank you for joining. And so we issue, Janet Yellen, one of the things that she's done that's brilliant is issuing really short-dated treasuries where, sure, you're paying a little bit higher of an interest rate, but you're doing it for a shorter period of time. And then when the yields start coming down, the interest on our debt comes down and everybody's happy. So we have this kind of pre-programmed where the yields on our debts are going to come down. They're going to come down because we're reducing spending from the federal government with DOGE. But then at the same time, we're not going to have the negative impact of having a bunch of people losing their jobs, drawing the economy down, because they're still going to get paid for 2 years and can enter the private markets or invest that money and then never fucking work again. So this is actually, yeah, I know. Yeah, fair. Flash 691111. Not sure I'd use brilliant, but it is. Here's the thing. What she did was brilliant, or at least it was the right move, was issuing shorter dated treasuries so that you can keep Rates would be probably 1.5% higher than they are right now if she had not done that. So I actually think both Powell and Yellen have handled that really well in the second half. I don't think we should have had lockdowns, and I don't think we should have printed massive amounts of fucking money. But at the same time, I think it's great. Have I seen what Matthew Schultz has posted? No. Let's take a look. Let's see what the Schultz has to say. What is our boy, Matthew Schultz? Well, that's the wrong Matthew. We don't want XXX Matthew in here. That's going to be a little too much for me this morning. Remember that time I showed Cardi B's ass? Not doing that again, hopefully. All right, Matthew Schultz. What did he post? He hasn't really posted much. What am I looking for? I mean, we got the Bitcoin treasuries. Every earned, everyone, bought none. Not one single step by accident. Strategy over idea. Oh, God. That sucks, actually. I hate seeing that. That was the 4th, though. That was 2 days ago. Jeff Park, let me tell you what the high-level problem is with crypto miners right now as someone who tries to enthuse Bitcoin hedge fund alpha to institutional investors. For the record, I love the mining industry, and I'm optimistic about the future. So this isn't meant to be negative. Okay, let me see what he's got to say. Let's give him a second. We're going to let somebody else read it, though. I'm going to drink my coffee.
Let me tell you what the high-level problem is with crypto miners right now as someone who tries to enthuse Bitcoin hedge fund alpha to institutional investors. For the record, I love the mining industry and am optimistic about their future, so this is not meant to be a negative post. In hedge fund land, there are 2 categories of alpha, directional alpha, and there is market-neutral alpha. The problem with market-neutral alpha is that while in theory it makes a lot of sense, it will most likely not be the sole allocation by a generalist investor. It usually will be a component of a larger multi-strategy, but directional alpha can often be the sole allocation because people love video game number returns, that psychology hate it or love it. So it's just Bayesian probability at the end of the day that if PIAB, where A is strategy allocation and B has no crypto exposure, then for liquid alpha it is greater than market neutral. So that's why people want MSTR greater than miners.
All right, so far I agree with them. Let's keep going.
Some want MSTX degenerates, and miners are catching on to this. So they're doing things like issuing 0% converts and ATMs with the purpose to buy Bitcoin. But this is a dangerous gamble as it is deflecting from what the business really should be or was...
So he likes this. So this is just CleanSpark saying they're not going to do convertible bond debt offerings.
...pitched as originally monetizing BTCPX risk cyclically. So now that can potentially alienate even the original investors who wanted market neutral, and at the same time, they will struggle to win the hearts of long directional because it's just not a clean box like MSTR. It's basically creeping into no man's zone with a lack of product market fit.
I completely disagree. And here's the thing that bothers me. I love Jeff Park. I actually think he's brilliant, but I completely disagree. I think when you're talking about, again, guys, when you're talking about with Mara, let me pull this up real quick. Their convertible bond debt offering, when you're talking about getting tons of capital to be able to expand at a quicker rate than your competitors like CleanSpark, and you don't, and these debts, these convertible bond offerings are due in 2031, and you're getting $1 billion in oversubscribed capital. This is fucking stupid. This is fucking stupid to me because they literally are in a better financial position to outperform CleanSpark, even if they suck at mining. So I'm going to have to disagree with that. I get what he's talking about. You want to have a business focus. You want to have a niche, right? And that's why Matthew's jumping into that. I think he still doesn't want to do convertible bond debt offerings. I'm getting so many fucking mixed signals from CleanSpark, though. It's like, hey, guys, we have these new opportunities, different kind, fancy stuff to be able to acquire more money in the future. But then at the same time, we shit on the convertible bond debt offerings. And want to talk about diluting shareholders. I don't fucking understand what CleanSpark is talking about. I hope someday, soon, they actually tell us what they're doing. Why post things shitting on companies like Mara that are doing these offerings at 0% interest? They have so much more capital today from an extra $1 billion than what CleanSpark has to be able to buy Bitcoin and to be able to cover debts and not dilute shareholders. How is that not beneficial and accretive to shareholders? Somebody fucking tell me that. And hey, Matthew Schultz, instead of telling us about the things you don't like, how about you tell us what you're going to fucking do? That's my advice for CleanSpark. And again, I love I understand what he's saying, and I love and respect him. But that just pisses me off. Hey, we got economic data, guys. We got economic data. Let's go to it real quick here. Lots of it, okay? So this is going to be very crucial. And I see Bitcoin popping like crazy. You see that in the bottom here? Well, like crazy. I mean, 98,260. So let's see what we got. We got non-farm payrolls, 227. Better than expected. We were expecting 200 for consensus and forecast. 227 is what we got. I want to go back here real quick, though, guys, because here's what we said. So consensus for the jobs data is actually really a 215,000, okay? Even though it says over here that, let's just go back here. Where was that? Non-farm payrolls was at 200 and 194. It's really not. So this came in a lot closer than people were saying originally. Unemployment rate, 4.2%. We don't love that. That was consensus forecast. Let's look at it real quick here. Now, is this a big deal? It's not. And why is it not a big deal? Look at this. We were at 4.3. So when we're looking at this, could we see this go higher? Yes, we could. We could. But I doubt it, because we're going to start exporting illegal immigrants from this country, and we're going to have a bunch of manufacturing jobs coming back in. So I'm not even worried about the unemployment rate. I think that all looks good. Bitcoin's still liking it, guys, 98.5 and climbing. So again, I think non-farm payrolls, let's just go back over here. We'll get Rick Santelli's input too. Unemployable. Yeah, I know. Literally, nobody can employ me. So they can't give me enough money. But yeah, so if we look here, non-farm payrolls, does this look crazy to you? Does this look like so irrationally exuberant over the last 3 years that we're going to need to not cut rates in December? Fuck no, it doesn't. It doesn't remotely look like that. Not to me, and I think I've got more common sense than most of the people at the Fed. Average hourly earnings year over year, 4%. That came in at consensus. It's a good number. We want to see earnings going up while prices paid and things like that are going down. Participation rate, 62.5. That is 0.1% lower. So that's not great, but it's also not a big deal. The overall trend, let me just go out here a little bit. The overall trend with this has been very, very, very positive. We'd like to see that continue. I think we will see that continue with everything that's going on from a macro standpoint. Average weekly hours, 34.3, very much in line. Government payrolls, in line, slightly above forecast, lower than previous. Manufacturing, look at this. I talked about this coming, guys. So government payrolls getting weaker. Manufacturing finally seeing some upticks. Also, non-farm payrolls, private, saw a nice uptick. It was a little bit underneath consensus, well above forecast. This is all good data. The U6 unemployment rate is usually a little bit closer to what I believe true unemployment to be. And it's a little bit higher, but if we look at the 3-year on it, or I should go back. Let's go to the 5-year. So if we look at the 5-year on it, again, we're near that 7.9 where we peaked. We're right at that level. We're just 0.1% underneath of it, but I don't think it's a big deal. I think unemployment literally starts to go the other way because, again, everything that we're looking at with the current government that's coming in to power is pro-growth, low taxation. It's all the right stuff. And that's why Bitcoin's at 98.5 right now, because I think it likes these data points. Let's real quickly listen to my boy, Rick Santelli.
80 is the benchmark.
Not this boy, the other boy. We'll get to him. I just want to hear if there's any revisions that I'm not looking at real quickly here. All right, let's listen to what these yahoos have to say, too.
I think around 180. I think we're going to come in a little bit light.
Any revisions, do you think? That could be
a big story. It's a big
negative.
He thinks we're going to come in light. Sorry, Rick.
Because we may have to go back and rethink what we thought before, which changes what we think now.
That's been the pattern, though, Steve.
You're right.
If you look at the QCW data,
right,
we've overstated employment by at least 1.2 million. And the jobs we've had have been in government and healthcare.
Yeah, but the QCEW from yesterday, not.
But that's the past. That's not the future. I feel like so many people in the investment world are really good at telling you, like they're like newscasters. Hey guys, it's raining outside, and yesterday it snowed. Great. How does that help my investment portfolio? You know what I mean? Like, or whatever, or about the weather going to tomorrow. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes, that's a shitty analogy, but you get my point. Hopefully, is that you can tell us what things are. Those are obvious, right? Like what things are today and what has happened are obvious things that everybody can come to agreement on. Having foresight, short the weather. Yeah, check it, bro. You guys. But having foresight and being able to look towards the future are much harder.
They get too wonky. They downgraded how much they're going to downgrade it. They went from minus 800 to minus 600, just so you know.
Yeah, but
hey, let's real quickly, though. I do want to look at something. Let's look real quickly. I'll do it down here. So way down in the bottom chart, guys. And let me, I probably need to do this to make it a little bit more viewable. There we go. And maybe this. Maybe I'll do this. Ooh, there we go. How pretty is that? All right. So if we look down in the corner here, that's probably too big. Let's sort by percentage and see where we're at. MSTX at the top of the list. HIMS coming in next. Bit Digital coming in next. Hood coming in next. Baba, Tesla 2.25%. DLO looking to run more. Oh, I'm going to love that one, guys. Look at this. Down in this chart, and let me just do this. I'll bring this up on the big screen because this is just looking so pretty right now. And we'll look at all this on the big screen. That's probably a better use case for what we're doing. And let me just pull this up. So I am super stoked, first off. Like, this is so bullish. To all the crybaby little bitches. I mean, again, if this is your first cycle, I'm going to give you some grace. I'm not going to give you a hard time for freaking out. When Bitcoin went up to 104 and then it dropped all the way down to the fib perfectly, going into the low 90s. I get it. I totally get it. I get it. You're scared. You don't know what's going on. You don't know technicals. You don't understand the thing you're invested in really well. You got a lot to learn. I get it. But this is just absolutely magical and beautiful for a setup for Bitcoin. You've washed out all the people that got excited about the breakout. When we were up here, a bunch of people leveraged along. And what I'm talking about is, I'm not talking about just like standard leverage. I'm talking like 5, 10x Bitcoin, right? These people, when here's what you do, guys. If you're gonna, don't ever use margin. And if you're gonna use leverage, do it like I did it yesterday. When you see that MSTX and MSTU are down over 10%, get in then. Don't get in when we're up here and MSTX is up 20% on the day. You don't do it then, okay? And now that this is washed out, anybody in overnight trading on crypto exchanges in the 92s that was good enough technically to understand what was coming or followed me and subscribed to me and saw my posts would have known that that is the place. If you're going to lever, do 3x there. Do 3x. Nothing more. Don't do more than 3x because 30% moves in Bitcoin can happen. So I would never do more than 3x. But you could do 3x from here, and those people are probably going to have a wicked ride. I don't play around with that stuff. First off, I hate crypto exchanges. And again, I'm lazy. I'm doing it through another tool. I'm using MSTU and MSTX. Even though they have tracking errors, it kind of suck. Still, it's easier. So, and I'm lazy. But this is beautiful, guys. This is such a beautiful setup right now that we have sitting in front of us. It's a very bullish setup. Let me switch real quickly to the watch list. And I'll get back to Liz. I do want to listen to Rick and the rest of these guys real quick. But again, just look at this. So even though last night we dropped all the way to 91,000, and you got to remember MSTX and MSTU and MicroStrategy and all these miners, they were foreshadowing what was coming, right? They were letting you know the move that was getting ready to happen in Bitcoin. And so I bought that stuff. I'm already up on my 130,000 that I bought into yesterday. And we've had this wicked flush out, which is exactly what you want to see. And guys, if you think this flush out was big, you're not ready for what's coming. You might want to just exit. This was only less than 12% drop in a day. And don't get me wrong, that's a big number for a day, right? But Bitcoin in this cycle can drop 30% in a couple of days. So if you can't handle 11% and that scares you, you might want to get the fuck out. You're not prepared. By the way, Bitcoin, 99,000. And I was wrong yesterday, guys. You know why I was wrong yesterday? Because I said Bitcoin would be at 100K this morning. It's going to take several hours longer than I anticipated. And so I want to sincerely apologize to you guys for being wrong by hours. I should do better, and I will. I promise you. All right. You know, fuck Rick and those guys. We're going to put them on hiatus or on pause for a second. All right. So Crypto Rover said, again, this is the one Michael Saylor put out there, just showing the Bitcoin spot ETFs doing really good. And this is probably, my guess is this is Bloomberg Terminal. I still got to figure out if I want one of those. Anyway, Czech Republic scraps capital gains tax on Bitcoin held 3+ years. So you know what that tells people to do? Move to the Czech Republic if you own Bitcoin, and then you don't have to worry after you hold it for 3 years. You won't pay a dime. You know why? Why would they do this? Maybe they want rich-ass Bitcoin people in their country building businesses and paying tax when they cash it out. In 3 years, and I shouldn't say paying tax, but when they cash it out in 3 years, and then they're like, hey, I'm going to open a company. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Maybe that's what they want. Maybe that's what they want. And maybe that's brilliant. And maybe that's good for Bitcoin. Bitcoin Archive, just in, Charles Schwab, head of trading, says Bitcoin ETF demand is surging as clients are bullish this quarter. $9 trillion Schwab announced they're getting into spot Bitcoin and crypto ETF sales. Hey, guess what, you old fuckers? You finally came on board. Good for you. Good for you. Everybody will come eventually. When Vanguard comes on, you probably know it's time to sell your Bitcoin. Germany has it at tax-free if you hold a year or more. See, that's beautiful, chicken, bro. That's the way it should be. Those are the kind of incentives we need. That's what we need in the United States, too, and I think you're going to see more of that in the future. And that's just going to make prices scream higher. My buddy Titans of Crypto just said, hey, altcoins are going to take off because BTC dominance is dropping. I do agree with him. I think I said yesterday or the day before, I said, hey, this could last a week or two, and then we should see it dropping down. And I do agree with that. That's not what I wanted. Let me just pull up BTC dominance because it did break down underneath. It did not find support. I thought that might happen. I thought it might find support on the 7-8 year resistance line, but or maybe it still has a chance. Let's see here. It's underneath of it now. So we'll watch this. If it stays underneath, then again, you can see what happens in previous cycles, guys. This is the 2017 bull run. You can see the dips, and each time this is Bitcoin losing strength to altcoins. And while this is happening, altcoins were melting up. Then Bitcoin gets strength back. Bitcoin loses strength against altcoins. Alts melt up. Bitcoin gets strength back. Bitcoin loses strength to altcoins. Altcoins melt up. So we could be seeing altcoins melting up. I don't hate that because I actually want to sell a decent amount. I want to sell about 300,000. I got some bills to pay at the beginning of the year. So if we can get a really good altcoin melt up and I can sell that stuff and push off tax obligations, I'd love that. And I do think that could be coming in the near future. Let's jump back over here. This is OG Render. Yeah, you'll see him always talking about Render in chat. He talks about it in the Discord too. He says Render has all the connections. So does Sol, actually. So David Sachs, White House crypto currency and AI czar, is that his name? Is that his title? Is a massive Render bull. He's a Render bull and he's a Solana bull and owns Solana. So both of these, again, these are two of my favorite shitcoins. And I do think that they're going to do well with this. But you got Ari Emanuel, owner of UFC and WWE, best friends with Donald Trump and Elon Musk. You got Eric Schmidt, ex-CEO. Here, let me just move this over. Ex-CEO of Google, who's a part of this. Imad Mostak, ex-CEO Stability AI. Richard Karras, VP of NVIDIA Omniverse. Samuel Palmisano, ex-CEO IBM. Jinzu Scott, WEF advisor and AI. These are just all people that are tied in with this token in different ways. Some of them very brilliant people. Is it Ahmad Mostak? I don't know. One of these is just a really brilliant dude that I was listening to for like 3 hours, and he was just amazing. So again, not financial advice. I don't own. I probably only have like 15,000 in Render, maybe. It's not a huge amount. Bitcoin Magazine, just in, publicly traded company BitFuFu, love the name, discloses 1,664 Bitcoin treasury worth $164 million. BitFuFu knows what's up. Thomas from Hey Apollo shows BlackRock bought 7,750 Bitcoin yesterday, or the day before yesterday. Doesn't really matter. Bitcoin's getting to 99,000. These guys have over 50 billion in assets, and they have the fastest growing ETF in history by a large margin. My buddy Ben was talking about what I talked about yesterday. He said, what a beautiful leverage flush. No free rides for high leverage longs as we move above 100K. That's exactly what happened, guys. And this is good. And I didn't call it out as coming, but this is a beautiful thing that's happening. It's actually more bullish to wipe out the leveraged longs and then go higher than to moon. If it mooned, I'd be selling more aggressively when we start going up higher and higher and higher. But now I'm more optimistic that it'll be sustainable. So these are good things. All right, I think that's it for Bitcoin. I want to jump over to the MicroStrategy section. We got a lot to talk about, guys. I'm going to try and get through as many news-related things as I possibly can right now. Let me see. Do we have more economic data? No, I think we pretty much got it all. We do have Michigan consumer sentiment at 9. Yeah, so a bunch of Michigan data at 9. A bunch of Fed speak, like look, Goolsby, Hammock, Daly. All these people are talking. Ooh, industrial production in Argentina tonight. I love that. I gotta get more caught up with what's going on in Argentina. But yeah, so we do have more economic data coming out at 9. I already talked about British HODL. Max Kaiser, MicroStrategy turns Bitcoin volatility into Bitcoin yield. So this is incredibly important for you to understand. The huge increase, and then MicroStrategy could have been selling. They could have been selling hard with stock, and then buying the dip, and then causing this big wick. Or maybe it's other companies doing it. Anybody not buying under 100,000 is an idiot. That was an easy bet. That was a really, really easy bet. But the whole point that he's saying is if MicroStrategy did sell at 103, 104,000, and then they bought in the low 90s, on top of their, 2.5x premium to NAV, it's just the volatility is going to make a lot of MicroStrategy holders really, 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 really rich. I plan on being one of them. And I love this, dude. This guy, so Saylor appeared on this podcast. I don't even know who the fuck these people are. They seemed a little retarded, but he was talking about MicroStrategy and how they're playing, and they were questioning him like he's some kind of fool. And he made very short work of them. We'll listen to it. Here we go.
So literally what I do is turn it around to you and say, if you don't think it's the most interesting, tell me what asset in the world is more interesting right now to more people, because I don't think you could name one.
Well, I think it's interesting because of all of the conversations that it sparked and the way that it's become very political, and it's...
Dude, you could tell Saylor, he's rocking in his seat. He's like, fuck this little bitch. Watch this.
It really brings out the emotions of everyone involved, either positive or negative. But the things that you mentioned there about why it's interesting, like, again, a lot of it has to do, I mean, you mentioned the fact that it trades on weekends, which other assets don't, but the idea that it is...
Ed, come on. First of all, the number one performing stock in the S&P 500, mine.
Yeah.
We're up 30x.
Yeah.
That's 3 times more than NVIDIA. That's interesting. How about the number one options market in the S&P 500? Mine. We have the most intense options, like 130% of market
his dick
cap.
all over the place.
Most profitable convertible bond. The number one convertible bonds in the marketplace. MicroStrategy.
Yeah.
Right? It's interesting because people are making money off of it.
Right.
I just love how he shut him down. Michael Saylor, he's tired of the bullshit, guys. He's tired of it. Don't forget that MicroStrategy is the king of Bitcoin. Others have a lot to catch up. Yep, okay. All right, this is all good. I think we saw some of this. I've been watching so much MicroStrategy content. If you're not watching it, if you don't understand why MicroStrategy is going to make the price of Bitcoin explode this cycle, you are missing the fuck out. Listen to Ben Workman talk sometime on YouTube. Listen to Michael Saylor like crazy. Listen to these two people. There's more, but listen to them. There's a group, guys, that I'm a part of. I think it's like MicroStrategy Long or something. Join that group. Find that group, join that group. You need to listen to people that actually know what they're talking about, not morons like that young kid that obviously read a book from Warren Buffett one time and he knows everything about investing. And Michael Saylor, that owns the fastest growing company on earth, irresponsibly long MSTR. Yes, Value Maxi. Thank you, sir. The Michael Saylor, again, that what that everybody right now, everybody in the investment community is catching on to, he can't possibly be the one who's right. It's got to be this little, 18-year-old cuck who doesn't know what he's talking about. Anyway, just do your homework, guys. Do your homework. Jesse, good morning. If you're building a new call position in Tesla, what strike? I wouldn't do it. I'm selling I can't genuinely tell people that it is a good idea to buy Tesla calls when I'm up probably today 250% on the ones that I'm holding. I can't do that. That would be disingenuous, and that's not me. I wouldn't buy Tesla calls here. You could maybe do TSLL, but it would have been much better to do that before, right? You should have done that a while ago. You should have done that, I don't know, down here when I said, hey guys, we have a perfect back test, and this is probably going to be a launch zone, and we were at 230. I would have done it down there. I wouldn't be doing it up at 376. 70% higher. What is that even? Let me just real quickly draw the line and I could tell you. So I would buy stock here, dude. It's way more safe. I wouldn't. Yeah. So what are we up? 60%. My bad. So 60% from where we were on November 4th, a month ago. So I can't tell people to go long here, dude. That's like you're applying leverage at the wrong time. A lot of people have issues buying the dip. If you're going to do what I do, you got to be a professional at that. So you'll have to switch around your thinking on how things work. Otherwise, it just won't function. Let's see here. Irresponsibility. Jesse, good morning. Okay, that was you. Pawpaw Mark, where is the group? What platform? Okay, you guys all got that. That's on X, by the way, Pawpaw. Nobody. No. All right, you're making that hard. Hey Jesse, love what Fibonacci you use in your BTC. I'm using a trend-based Fibonacci extension because I think we've already found the bottom. So to be real clear, guys, there's different kinds of Fibonacci, and you could do it in a multitude of different ways. But I would always have logarithmic set. Always. You can't work with asymmetric assets and not have that. Jinzo21. Thank you for the 5 memberships. I'm actually getting close to 5,100 paying members. I might be there this morning across all these platforms. That's insane because I had about 1,000 a little over 3 months ago, and now I have 5,100. You guys are blowing my mind. I want to clarify something too, guys, real quickly. So it's a trend-based fib extension. If you look over here, it's a trend-based fib extension. You do those when you believe you found the bottom. Now, how do you draw a trend-based fib extension? We'll just give you a quick summary here. So a trend-based fib extension is you think you found the bottom. So I thought I found the bottom in Bitcoin at 15,000, right? That's where I thought I found the bottom. The top was pretty easy to define. That's where you have some. So you're drawing it from. So we know that was the bottom. We know this was the top. So we're looking for the major low. And with Bitcoin, it's easy because you have 4-year cycles. So we know this was the major low also because it was the pandemic in March of 2020. Pretty easy to call that as the major low for a whole bunch of investment types. So we draw it from down here all the way up to that pretty top we got, all the way back down to the bottom. And when we do that, it gives us our Fibonacci, and it gives it in a correct way as long as we have logarithmic sitting in front of us. So that's how you do that. I wanted to clarify something else real quick, guys, while we're here. So somebody said like, oh, that must really help with buying the dip because I'm making a lot of money. I want to clarify something real quick. It doesn't. I'm making right now, somebody said, oh, you must be making $20,000 a month. I'm making 23 right now with memberships. I'm not doing ads at all. I wasn't making virtually anything 9 months ago. And again, I went from about 60,000 in revenue 3+ months ago to what's pushing 300,000 now. Okay. But here's something I want to make sure that people understand about my history. I retired at the start of a pandemic in March of 2020. Okay. I retired back here. Okay. Now, this is the low balances. If you look up here, it says portfolio balance lows. Some people don't read charts and they don't look for titles, but that's what this was. That's what this represents, right? And so I was actually like at 350,000 in my portfolio, 370 when I retired and quit my job and decided I was going to do this full time. Pretty ballsy, if you ask me. But I had to basically make up for my income. It wasn't a lot. It was like 75,000 a year, and I'd actually taken a 40% pay cut so that I could my last year plus of employment, I could just tell customers to piss off, work from my house, and then focus on investing. So I was making like $40,000 a year at the end of my employment for the last year plus, because I read The Art of Not Giving a Fuck in the 4-Hour Work Week, and I started applying it to my life. But here's the thing I want people to understand. Sure, if I'm making $300,000 a year in revenue from memberships, that's going to be helpful. It's not going to make me rich off investing, though, because around this time I retired and I had to manage my own fucking bills and my investment account to survive. Then in 2021, I retired my parents, my in-laws, and my wife. So then I had to take care of all of them, and I help a bunch of other people financially. So then this entire trip, the thing I want to clarify here, this entire trip to where I am now near the 6 million range, that entire trip, I've had to support other people and live and do this. And I didn't have any fucking revenue coming in until recently. So I just want to be really clear on my history and how I made money and how I'm making money now and how I'll make money in the future. It's great that I'm making a bunch of money in annual revenue. I don't love the taxes that come along with it, but it's like that isn't how I've gotten where I am today. I just want to be very fucking clear. I've gotten here from hard work, and if anything, I've had a deficit because I'm taking care of so many people. Right now, I've got a relative where their van hit a deer, and I got to fix that for them and pay for that. I don't even know how much that's going to cost for the vehicle, but I paid off their vehicle because they almost lost it financially. And so I had to buy the vehicle for $8,000. Then they didn't have comprehensive insurance on it. Now it's wrecked, and now I've got to pay for their vehicle too. So I have a lot of financial burdens that I think a lot of people don't have. And this is just one of many things that goes on in my life on a daily occurrence. I'm sending my mother-in-law to Panama to see her relatives over this winter too. So I do a lot of things for a lot of other people. And at the same time, I've been able to accomplish this. So I just want to be very clear on my origin story so that people know, okay? And that there's not any confusion. Anyway, sorry for the rant, but I don't even know why I went there. All right, let's go back. What else we got? We talked about MicroStrategy, China. China's GDP doesn't add up when considering consumption rates and other key metrics, economists argues. He cited inconsistencies in the CCP's data stating numbers match up with metrics like prices and employment if the growth rate is revised down by 3%. So here's the thing. It's all a fucking lie. It's all a lie for them. To be very, very clear, China has removed 95% of their reporting economic data metrics so that they can lie to you and make you think their economy is doing better than it is. It is doing horrific, absolutely horrific. There was another post, and I got to refresh here to get to it. Let me just do that real quick, guys. So bar chart said China will cut interest rates by the largest amount in a decade next year, says Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley. So they're going to be dropping into the 1% range, maybe sub 1%. This is not a position of strength. This is weakness. They have no choice. They have to do this. Somebody else said, well, if you have populations decreasing in China rapidly because of the one-child policy that they had invoked forever, and even with removing that, they're still seeing it going down a shit ton, okay? A shit ton with their population. You have to lower rates. You have to stimulate the economy because you have less producers. Your GDP isn't going to be performing well, and you're going to have to lower rates because you have to stimulate. This is a position of weakness. This is not a reason to jump in to anything China related at all. Stay the fuck away from China. Don't listen to my friend Jake. I love him. He's a brilliant TA. I think he has the second highest number of memberships for his TA work. Technical analysis work, charting. Think of that, okay? Of anybody on X outside of Elon Musk, he's like very subscribed to, right? And he got that stuff very, very early. And I could be wrong, but I think that's right. And let me know if I'm wrong. But so he's brilliant, but he's wrong about China. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And even though I love him, I will tell him that. All right, let's go down further. And we got to get Tesla. We got a lot to talk about. We will get into other things in a second, guys. I'm sorry. All over the place. I just want to make sure I don't have anything under U.S. economy I want to talk about. This is a great video about global liquidity coming from Michael Howell, talking about Trump 2.0, talking about the dollar's influence over the world, talking about the next economic era. I think it's all beautiful. I think China's going to have to do a lot of things to stimulate. The only thing I really, really worry about is that China is more ready for war than they are to try and restore their economy. If that's the case, that could get interesting. And so Timely Investor says, so I can't jump into my Chinese wife. I mean, you can do whatever you want to with your Chinese wife. I'm not going to talk about what happens in the bedroom, bro. That's not for me. But yeah, anyway, I digress. So I think that's good. I think that's done for the U.S. economy. I want to look at altcoins. Let's see what else I have here. So again, Crypto RS, he's looking good. He's lost a lot of weight, by the way. Bitcoin dominance, falling wedge pattern. Again, I've kind of shown this to you a bunch. This is from Rover, though. Just showing that it's breaking down. It's actually above this now, though. So we could get some Bitcoin dominance for a while. We'll see how it plays out. If we look at altcoins right now, guys, let's look at the daily. I would say altcoins are getting a little squeezed. So I think Bitcoin still wants to run. Could be wrong. We'll see. CoinDesk says Citibank said altcoins may benefit more than Bitcoin under a more permissive U.S. regulatory regime following the real Donald Trump's election victory. Yes, that's true. That's what happens. That's what happens. Is MSTX and MSTU, are they worth a buy today? Are they worth a buy today? Let's just look. So first off, we're not open yet. We got 28 minutes until the bell tolls. Tesla up 2.23%. I'm going to be selling more Tesla calls today, guys. Don't hate me. I still love the company. It's just, I'm just trying to spread the wealth. I'm trying to spread the wealth into what I believe is going to be a very powerful upthrust off of something that has went up a shit ton, 60% in like a month or something, right? So I'm just trying to be smart with my capital. Let's look over here real quick though. So MicroStrategy today up almost 2%. This is still well off. So let me do this. I don't even think this is going to happen. It could. I don't think it can. I don't think it will, though. So if we just get back to the MicroStrategy previous high, and again, there could be, I think we're going to see news about NASDAQ inclusion soon. Even from where we are in pre-market with MSTR, we've got 38% upside just to get to the previous high we were at a little less than 2 weeks ago. So MSTX and MSTU can 2x that. They can actually do a little bit more than that if that happens in short order. Because of compounding effects, just like how broken they are when you fall and how much money I lost when it was falling. We just broke 99,000 on Bitcoin, guys, 99,000. So I'd say here's the short answer. Yes, I think it's a really good deal. And here's why I think it's a good deal. And it could still fill a gap, right? There's a gap down here, guys, 63. If you can't handle the pain going down, don't get in. It's that simple. If you're a little bitch, no, I'm kidding. If you can't handle, just don't get into things you can't handle. Okay, that's the gist of it, right? You shouldn't be jumping into things that you don't understand. This is a 2x levered fund, which is leveraged off of MicroStrategy, which is leveraged off of Bitcoin, the most volatile asset on the planet. If you can't handle that, you're probably like the other 99% of human beings. It's okay. Okay. And if you're an emotional investor, it takes years to get rid of that. Even some people that have done this all their lives, a lot of them who have done this all their lives are still emotional investors when it comes to Bitcoin and everything else. They just still can't get it right. Why MSTX instead of BITX? Because of MicroStrategy. Understand MicroStrategy. Understand MicroStrategy, guys. You have to understand MicroStrategy. If you don't, it's just your loss. Anyway, let's keep going here. So yeah, I don't know. If you like for MSTX to get back to its previous high, it's 117%. If you like doubling your money in what could be a week or two, then I think it's a good thing. If you're afraid of the theta decay or the rebalancing that occurs and the potential of dropping 35%, which could give you a 35. If you're afraid of a 35% drop, then you don't deserve the 117% gain in a short period of time. Okay? I don't do price targets with MSTX. I always look at the underlying asset. I will sell MSTX and MSTU based on what this does, MicroStrategy. Don't complicate shit and look at the levered funds that you're in or other stuff. It's like, if you had a long call option, would you do a price target on your long call option? Fuck no. You're going to look at the stock. What is the stock doing? It's the same principle. It's the exact same principle, guys. I wouldn't go long. I wouldn't do 2x Coinbase personally. It'll do all right, but I think it's going to underperform Hood. I think it's not going to be like MicroStrategy. I don't know. I don't love Coinbase, honestly. C-list. Some top traders for 40 years get caught up by their emotions when the markets change. Dude, emotions will destroy you. They'll destroy you in investing. If you're willing to dump everything, forget your game plan, give up on your conviction, was your conviction that strong? It'll destroy you. Young investors, I sold my Mara shares for MSTR July 2025 yesterday. I hope it works out. I don't even know what the numbers look like on those calls, but I hope it works out for you, sir. Andrea, Jesse, in EU, can't buy MSTX or MSTU. There are alternatives, but I don't like them. Yeah, that 3LMI is a lot of leverage, dude. Again, it's leverage on leverage on leverage. The rebalancing, the theta decay essentially could be very painful. 3LMI will be beautiful on the way up. It's going to hurt your ass on the way down. Even more so than these two. So, again, guys, this is all about placing bets. The more short-term bets you do, if you don't know what you're doing, where you're counting on things to happen over a week or 2 weeks, and you don't have more time for them to play out and do well, you're endangering yourself. What I'm doing with MicroStrategy, I've got over 1.5 million in MSTU and MSTX, is crazy. It's just I have an incredibly high level of conviction. If you don't have that, you might not be ready to come along for the ride. Okay. Sky Production, Jesse, can we have your opinion on DOGE and when you have a chance, please? Are you talking about people are going to have to clarify whether you're talking about a cryptocurrency or whether you're talking about the Department of Government Efficiency. And actually what I want to do, I want to segue real quick. I want to go to PayPal. So first off, again, yes, I think Citi's right about this. I think it's great that a Solana holder, David Sachs, who is a brilliant person and who is politically right so many times about Donald Trump and where everything was headed, is this new czar. I love that. I'm still going to say XRP is a dead coin. So I said that. What has XRP done for the last couple of days? Real quickly. I just want to see because I haven't seen, people told me they were taking screenshots. They said they were going to take screenshots, so they were ready to mock me when I said that XRP had topped over here. Feels like when I said MicroStrategy had topped. So how much has it dropped from the top? And I called the top at the fib, so we'll just call it right there, right? And we'll just drop down a little bit. Oh, so you guys have made 18%. Fuck you. And not to the people that have lost money who hold it. That's just to the assholes. Listen. Yeah, all right. So I want to talk about PayPal. Let's go to PayPal. And then we have 21 minutes until market open. I'll try and get caught up in chat here too. Jesse, you mentioned collecting some cash before Christmas. How much in percentage in your portfolio? Probably not a lot. But my portfolio is big. By the time I get to where I think I'm going to be at 7 to 8 million if things play out the way I think they're going to. They don't have to. But if I have 7 to 8 million, I probably have at least 10 to 15% in cash or TLT. So, 800,000 at the minimum, to, 1.5, or no, is that right? No. Something like that. Yeah. Into the 1 millions. Something like that. All right. So anyway, I want to go back to PayPal because, again, I just want to make sure people understand this play, too. It's important to understand your plays, guys. PayPal. So my buddy Jake, again, brilliant if he's not talking about China. If he's talking about China, he's like, dur. But when it comes to PayPal, he's right. There's a huge volume shelf. It looks great. It's going up. And then here too, I just wanted to point this out. So this is a post that I piggybacked off of our boy Alex Chris, and this is kind of an important post. So let me have our man read it. I'm not going to do Snoop Dogg. I love Snoop, but he just doesn't come off well. Here we go.
PayPal was the #1 most popular payment app on iPhone on Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, and Cyber Monday in the US and Germany too. Cyber Monday was our biggest day of the year so far, with approximately $7 billion in payments processed, $81,000 per second. 3. More than 1.2 million SMBs had their best sales day of 2024. 4. 100K SMBs made their first sale with PayPal 5. Powered double-digit growth in buy now, pay later transactions compared to Cyber 5 last year. 6. Increased pay with Venmo transactions by double digits compared to Cyber 5 last year.
So I don't know, I don't know how people can't be bullish on PayPal right now. I don't get it. How are you not bullish about that? You got to be pretty retarded. I say retarded a lot. If anybody does have a relative with Down syndrome, I would like to apologize. It's something where I grew up in the 80s, and I don't know, it's just a different time. The final countdown, agree, Jesse. Snoop talking financials. It just doesn't work, right? You're right, Final. It just doesn't. I love Snoop, but man, it just feels weird. It doesn't feel organic in any way. All right, so PayPal. I think PayPal's good, right? So that's kind of the gist there. Let's go over to it. Data Input Online says, as a single whole BTC coiner, what do you do near the top? Sell it and buy lower? No, I do different things. I have a certain amount in Bitcoin that I don't talk about, and I add to that every cycle. So I'll sell out of my leverage plays, but then I've got this other stuff that I'm a part of, right? So we got about 9% upside here. The thing I love about this, guys, the way my calls are designed, that's 8 to 9. Like I get 8 to 9x that. So I think my PayPal position can double. I think that can double in a very short order. If it went up 28%, I don't know, what is that, 200+% at least in gains that I would probably experience. My PayPal position isn't huge. It's a little less than $500,000 now. But if it turns into 1.5 million, I won't be upset. And then again, I'm still down. I'm not actually down by this much because I took profits when we were up a little bit too. So I'm kind of flat on PayPal right now, even though I had a really rough one on that 2025s. Again, you lose $350,000 on them and you feel like you maybe had a timing issue. But I think PayPal is very exciting. I'm very stoked about it. Again, like we told you down here, that riding along this was important, and that was down when it was in the 59s, and people didn't listen, and now it's 90. So maybe they'll start listening. You know what? People probably ask me if they should get into PayPal leaps right up here at 114. That's probably what'll happen. That's usually what happens. So don't be that person. It's not good for you. MSTX, MSTU are the leaders. Baba is up there. Baba, just the worst fucking stock on earth. Bitfarms, yay. Bitfarms underperforming before. Remember that? Now it's doing great. Bit Digital, that's the Ethereum one, I think. Tesla's still up. Palantir up. Palantir is nearing a top. If people aren't selling, woof. But I've said that for a long time. Long time. Been wrong. Looks like a pretty good day, though, guys. This is looking pretty healthy for the markets today. Not a lot of things are down in pre-market. So I'm kind of liking that. Jesse, where do you think Tesla reaches by 2026? I think 600 to 900. Despite what Jeremy, I don't know why Jeremy, this is so weird to me. Where's Jeremy on here? Do you guys know Jeremy? Do you guys know Jeremy? Jeremy Lafarve? I like him, actually. I like him. Out of all the crypto course people, I don't know. He's had some bad decisions. I mean, but I have too, right? So how's that Flux doing, guys? Anybody down like a shit ton on Flux? So and PayPal wasn't great for me for the first one series, round. But this is funny to me. He said, my prediction is $500 to $550 in 5 years for Tesla. Jeremy, you're fucking retarded. You're fucking retarded. Yes, maybe he's just doing this to get attention. I get it. I get the whole, some people do that, right? Like I could do the, oh my God, oh, look at that, Bitcoin's going down, shocked expressions. I did a couple of those on videos on my thumbnails, but you know what? I felt like a fucking idiot because what these guys do is they, for social media, give you a completely different message in the thumbnail than what the reality is. And I don't know if that's him or if he's just too dumb after writing this fucker up 30x from the doldrums of 2018 and 19 and then getting, peak and making tons of money and then exiting his entire position, which he did really, really good with. I don't know if he's just too fucking stupid now. And again, I say this with the utmost kindness, Jeremy. I'm not like calling, like, again, I literally have said you're retarded and stupid, but I don't really mean it. Yeah, Tattooed Chef, great example, right? But I hate the clickbaiting shit, and I don't understand how you, of all people, can believe that Tesla has a $500 price target when right now we're getting close to 400, and we're looking at the what's coming ahead. I don't know. Either you are stupid or this is just clickbait, and I hate that. I get your incentive to do it, but I hate it. I think it's disingenuous. Disingenuous. I need to look that up. Anyway, I'm a high school dropout, but I think it's very clear. And again, we're going to be at 420. So if your price target is 500 or 550, and we're going to be at 420 in a week or two, what are you going to say then? You think he leans left regarding politics? I think that's why he sold his Tesla. He hasn't sold Tesla, right? Does he have Tesla? He better not have sold his Tesla. Jeremy sold his Tesla position on his main account. Yeah. No, he sold it way in the back, and he actually did good there. So he did it good then, but he owns Tesla right now, right? God, I hope so. Ugh, I hope so. Anyway, I digress. So Tesla's looking good. The melt up is still happening. I don't remember what the question was, but I think Tesla, oh yeah. Where is it going to be? And by the end of 2025, I think it's going to be like a no brainer. We're going to hit at least 600. That's this next fib level, because we're going to be at 420 soon. And then we could dial back. We could shoot up higher and then dial back. But I think 600 is a no-brainer for anybody who starts seeing robots walking around. If there's going to be 1,000 robots working in the factories and walking around Tesla next year, like Elon was talking about, how could you not give this thing a higher PE ratio when you're looking forward? I don't know. But 600 to 900, 900 is the golden retracement zone. That's what I'm expecting in 2025. But I'm also expecting a market melt up. I don't know what Jeremy's long-term convictions are. I really haven't watched his videos in a long time. So he could have just a completely different macro view. 99% sure he still has Tesla. Yeah, I would assume. I think so. I don't know his portfolio well enough, but I just think it's weird that he's talking about, less than a 50% increase in Tesla stock in 5 years. Really? This is going to probably be the largest company in the world in 5 years if MicroStrategy doesn't beat them to it. So, yeah, I don't know. I just think that's nuts. All right, so, who do we have talking? I was going to say, there's no way Art Cashin is talking. He's dead. So, but I love that guy. He has Tesla. He sold about 30% a year ago. Yeah, that I totally get. When it was 1,400 for the forward or for the PE ratio, if you didn't sell all of it, you're probably making a big mistake, right? If you didn't sell at the top over here when the PE ratio was 1,400, you're probably making a big mistake. I think he's just clickbaiting, Lim. I think he's clickbaiting. He's trying to be provocative because you get more clicks that way. It's stupid, but that's how it works. I'm not doing that shit. I don't care. He sold some this year too. Hopefully he was buying down in the lows and then and reaping great rewards from it, like me. Because my portfolio's been super happy. All right, let's look what else we got. 10 minutes until open. I'm trying to remember if there's anything else. I'm gonna look at the MicroStrategy tracker, see how we're tracking. He sold a bunch just a few months ago in the low 200s. Did he really, Tyler? And so that's why he has the low price target, because he's not financially invested. That's also shit I will not be doing, to be clear, guys. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to. I don't shit. Even, so here's the thing. Palantir. I still love Palantir. I made like 2 or 3 posts about Palantir that I retweeted, even though I have no financial interest in it right now. I probably have like 1 share, right? But it's still a great company. I don't think it can go much higher, but I'm actually doing that based off of the financials of the company and where they're currently sitting, and just really more than anything, a parabolic technical curve. This is a great company, though, and I'm not going to give it a hard time. But its forward PE of 158, I think, is rich. And here's the thing. Tesla's doing pretty good, too. Let's just pull them up. Tesla's forward PE is 107, so it's not quite the same. But here's the big difference I find between the two. Palantir from the bottom is up, including pre-market today, 1,100%. I should probably make this green. That would make more sense. 1,100%. So it's in the definition of a parabola right now. Now, the fundamentals could still push that higher, but I just don't think fundamentally where we're at right now, off an 1,100% move, hitting a major fib zone. It's major because it's so much larger than, again, you have this gapping up thing. And so you got the definition of a parabola here, right? Anyone know what website he just... Oh, so it's always Visual Stocks, dude. This is a site where I love this. It's my buddy Alejandro's. I'll pump it into chat. You'll be able to see it here. It's visual with a Z. But that's the definition of parabola, going up 1,100% in a period of 2 years, right? How much has Tesla went up again in 2 years? Can anybody tell me? How high has Tesla went in 2 years? Let's look here. Tesla has went 170%. And again, it's a bigger market cap, not fair. Let's go back, I'm sorry, to 2023. Let's go back further. So this thing's went up 270. I would say that's a little bit less than 1,100%. And when I look at the lineup of what Tesla has in front of it, and I look at the relationships that Elon Musk has, and I look at everything in their product line, I'm just more excited right now. I'm more excited right now for Tesla. Even though it's a much larger cap. And don't get me wrong, percentage-wise returns, if you zoom out 2 years, Palantir could actually outperform, okay? So I want to be clear on that. But short term, I just don't love the valuation on Palantir. But I don't understand how somebody can't be a little more bullish on the potential of a 140% increase in Tesla over a 10-year period. And that gets us to 900. Jeremy seems to think that we're down... What, here? 45% in 5 years. What an idiot. And I think that we can get 142 in one. Anyway, I digress. Isn't that on Palantir the mother of all head and shoulders? Let me go back here. Sorry. What do you mean by the mother of all head and shoulders? Are you talking about this being a shoulder and this being a head? No, I don't see that. But again, when you have a parabola, you could totally retrace back down. And it would look different. So let me just show this. So here's where the fib retracement would come in, guys. What you would do is you would draw this from the bottom. And then we could make an assumption that, like, let's make an assumption it gets to 81 or 80. And that's the end of the trip, right? So what that would do, and let me just move this over here. So this is where the fib retracement comes in. You make an assumption that you understand the top. And you could get that if it hits up here and it grinds. And again, we start to roll over on the RSI. And these are huge time frames, guys. You got to realize the RSI is at the highest level it's ever been. It's at an 84, 85 on the weekly time frame. If it got to 90, it'll just be retarded. And if it gets up to like in the 80s, the low 80s, that would be it. And they could even overshoot this a little bit and get into the 90s. But I think this is what we're likely to see, something like this where we could go down to 34. We could be at the top right now in Palantir, and if we were, let's say we were at the top right here, it gets us back towards kind of where this other fib is here, where we have, and you know what? Honestly, though, this looks better. This looks better or an overshoot. Why does this look better? Because look at this. Look at the volume we have over here. Look at that volume shelf right there. So I could see, let's put it this way. If Palantir goes up, and then it breaks down and we get into the sub 40 range, I'll be buying Palantir hard. And if it keeps going up and people make a bunch of money off of Palantir, I'm happy for you. But that's my game plan on Palantir. And again, I'm going to have to say we're getting more than a 40 to 50% increase on Tesla stock over the next 5 years. And if Jeremy did sell like virtually all of it, he's being an idiot. Alex, he sold like 200 shares before the Robotaxi event. Okay. Tesla splits every couple of years. Yeah, they will. But again, I don't think he's including that. He's not including that. He would have said that. Who wouldn't say that? Who wouldn't say, I think it's going to, because it's very different talking about a 40 to 50% increase or talking about, 150, right? Like these are very different numbers, or 130, 100, something like that. These are very different numbers. What does that mean? I'm not sure what we're talking about. See, listen, people often think they can sell their best long-term plays for higher profits and then buy them back. But if you never know when they'll run. Yeah, and so I kind of think that too, but I'm using leverage into these long-term plays where I bought them at really discounted rates. So I make so much off of them. It's like it hits its long-term measured moves. By the way, if anybody isn't noticing, Bitcoin's at 99,152. It's not going to be much longer until it's at 100K, and I am right about Bitcoin being fine. But yeah, you're right, though. You're right. A lot of the times people sell out too early. That's why I don't want people selling out of Tesla too early. I'm using leverage, so it's I can cheat a little bit. And I don't want them selling out of Bitcoin too early because we're just getting started. Jack, thank you for joining. Jesse, which tool for prospective option multiples? I don't use a tool for prospective option multiples. I try and determine whether I believe a valuation is undervalued or overvalued. That's probably going to be visual stocks. I look at the financials first. And then what I do, I use this. I use, that's not it. Options, profit. I use this. It's the options profit calculator. I'll just post this down in chat. And this is, if you guys don't know, I have an options 101 video. Just look it up on YouTube. Look up Micro to Macro Options 101, and it walks through how to use this calculator, how I look at options plays as far as like what I'm looking for and what I'm looking for in the calculator, and how I'm determining whether it's good value and all that kind of stuff for my asymmetric bets. 99.5, getting real close to 100,000 guys. Getting real close. Hey, Jesse, do you have a favorite wallet for Bitcoin? Curious if I'm using the best one. It varies so much. I actually have several hardware wallets, and then I have, and then I've been using Coinbase too, because I think if you get fucked on Coinbase, you're pretty screwed. And then Robinhood too. If I'm going to do it on exchange, it's probably going to be sitting on Coinbase and Robinhood. And then I've got Ledger, Trezor, and a few others. That I split up. I want to limit my risk. I'm always about limiting risk and having diversification, and even with hardware wallets, right? If I'm going to lose money, I'd like to have the best hardware wallets. And then Kraken's a really good company. I think Kraken's a great company. I don't use it. I probably have an account there. I should actually check. Maybe I have money in it. But Kraken, Gemini, these are all great, dude. All great. I'm just lazy and I use Coinbase. Yeah, so all this looks good. We've got about 2 minutes. Let's get to the bell, guys. Let's get ready for the bell. And we did skip Rick Santelli and these guys. Doesn't really matter. I know more than them for the most part. So let's get to the bell. See what's up.
Everyone's scrambling to find out who this is.
Could it be?
Imagine if you were headline driven and you saw this big red thing saying that unemployment rates have risen to 4.2%. What they're not telling you is they're lower than the 0.1% we had, a month or two ago.
I'm not going to take any
But you'd be like, oh God, I should sell.
guesses, but do they do
Dogecoin.
with
Yeah, I'll get to Dogecoin. I'll try and do that after the bell.
a company that had an auditor resign?
No, a competitor.
Yeah, they're a competitor, right?
Yeah,
so it wouldn't be them.
No, I mean this.
Options for Palantir at 40. If the fundamentals, the financials, and the technicals all align, then that wouldn't be a bad play.
This is one I've asked to have. I could have gone DocuSign and said the same thing. Shopify and said the same thing. There's a lot of AI practical uses right now, and it is impressive. And we shouldn't lose sight of the fact that Mark Benioff is not the only person that has discovered AI.
No, not the end of the world.
Of course,
So Ariel was here. I'll actually leave this playing. So Ariel said it doesn't look like Jeremy sold much of anything, 200 shares or something. That's nothing. Fuck. I mean, I sold 130,000 in Tesla yesterday, so I can't give him too much shit for that. So as long as he's still holding, I think that's the right move.
50th at the NASDAQ, it's MMCC, a nonprofit serving communities in the Bronx, Upper Manhattan, and Westchester. Yeah, DocuSign.
Nah, I don't mess with futures very much.
Ability to search through all kinds of agreements.
Right, and
I mean, if there's contango or something on a particular commodity or something that I'm invested, I don't know. Like I might, but I really don't much. All right, let's take a look here, guys. Let's take a look. Look at the watch list. Saylor on Crypto Banner live now. Oh, really? All right, that sounds kind of fun. We might do that. Let's look real quickly. Here. And I might turn that on. I got to get more coffee anyway. I'm out. We got no Valhalla today without coffee. So let's just look here real quick. So again, those MSTX, MSTU plays doing all right. Injective, Arbitrum, doing all right. Layer 2s on ETH, doing all right. Ethereum. Ethereum's hitting 4,000, guys. Does anybody care about that? I mean, Ethereum's breaking out. That's probably pretty good. Seeing some of the big caps doing well, I love that, guys. I love it. Both you and Jeremy are two beasts off of investing. I love Jeremy, dude. I love Jeremy. Honestly, evaluating companies, I learned a lot from him. I don't want to shit talk him too much. I just think that I hope that what he posted was clickbait because I love Jeremy. I think he's a great guy. I think he's, for the most part, like a pretty genuine dude, too. He's just had a few bad stock picks. I get it. I've done the same thing. I think he's made them into too large of a position of his portfolio, but he was brilliant with Tesla. He's been right on with PayPal. There's a bunch of other stuff he's sailing with. This guy worked at like fucking Kinko's. I can't diss on him, dude, too much. I'll diss on everybody a little bit, including myself, but he's done really well. I do like that idea listening to Saylor on Crypto Banner, though, and seeing what he has to say. He's such a brilliant dude. Crypto Banter. Yeah, he's a good dude. He's a real good dude. Real quickly here, I'm going to pull this up.
You're like, well, I never seen that before.
I want to see what, I'm going to go back a little bit. How long? Oh, okay. All right. So Crypto Banner is a goofy dude. He gets, not a good look. Sorry about that, bro. He gets big time into shit coins. I'm not that guy. If you guys want to be in the shit coin world, you could listen to people like this. I don't care enough about it. I care more about understanding the big picture of where we're headed. And yeah. Why do people call James at Invest Answers Joel or Paul Cohen? I don't know. I don't know if James is his real name. Most people use, what's his name? Oh, God, I was on a show, too. I should fucking know it. Tom Nash. Tom Nash is probably like his porn star name. That is not his real name. People don't, except for me. I mean, my name's Jesse. But people don't use their real names. I don't use my full name. I used to have my full email address and all that stuff on here for my personal email. Just stupid. After you get big enough, you realize there's a bunch of psychos out there. Jeremy was the Dwight Schrute of Kinko's, guys, and paper stock will change your life, 10x your business. Yeah, he's a cool guy. All right, so let's listen here. I'm going to jump for a second and just get my stuff, guys, and then we'll take a look. But let's listen to Saylor and our boy at Crypto Banner. 1 second.
Weeks has actually pushed up the price, and if he intends to carry on buying aggressively to keep the price up, and if he doesn't, well, is that going to drop the price of Bitcoin? That's one of the paths of questioning I've got for him, and I've got a whole lot of others for him. So I think it's a big treat to have Michael here just 48 hours after Bitcoin hit 100K for the first time. Let's do this, guys. The truth is, we booked this interview a long time ago. We had no idea that Bitcoin was going to hit 100K, but the stars aligned, and we seem to have Michael with us on the week that Bitcoin hit 100K. So I think it's going to be an amazing, amazing show. And I've got a lot of questions which I think a lot of people want to ask, and I think we're going to go quite deep into what MicroStrategy does, how aggressively they've been buying, whether they intend to carry on buying, how long is this buying going to continue for. And I also want to ask Michael about his time at Microsoft, because I know he spent 3 minutes pitching to the Microsoft board. Is this a real thing, or is this just a courtesy thing? So listen, first of all, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, you know what to do. Join the 1.21 million. We're growing every single day, over 1,000 people a day. Join the community. If you are part of the community, smash the like button, obliterate the like button. This is like a huge interview that we've got today. All right, so without further ado, I think I'm going to get into it. I'm going to bring Michael straight into the stream. Michael, good to see you, my friend. Must be a big week for you.
You know, I don't see you, Ron, so you need to bring me into the view. Where's the window?
Is there a reason why he doesn't see me? Can you hear me?
Okay, now I see it. Okay, now I'm here.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah. How's it going? Big week for you, my friend.
Yes, it is. It's 100K week. Nice week. We're all very happy about that.
Big week for all of us, I think. Big week for all of us. So, Mike, I think just to kick off, I know there's a lot of new people watching this. This is like, there's a lot of new people that have come into crypto since the prices have gone up. And I think just for those who are new to crypto, maybe just quickly just define what MicroStrategy does, because I think a lot of people still believe that MicroStrategy just buys and holds Bitcoin. And therefore the price should track the Bitcoin price. But maybe just very quickly for the new people, maybe just describe what MicroStrategy actually does.
Well, MicroStrategy issues fixed income securities. So one thing we issue, which we're very famous for, is convertible bonds. And those convertible bonds have a embedded call option in them, and they have a bond protection.
What a miss.
For people that want to buy Bitcoin at the all-time high but not take any downside risk, you can imagine that would be a pretty compelling thing. And those bonds are actually outperforming Bitcoin because they give you the right to convert to MicroStrategy stock, and they also give you downside protection. Sorry. So another thing
I feel so sorry for Michael Saylor. He spends, dude, I don't even know how many YouTube videos I've seen with him talking in the last 24 hours alone. This guy talks probably way more than I do. I get the cough. I get it.
Do sometimes is we borrow money through other debt instruments, and we can do that from time to time. The other thing we do is we have permanent capital. So we have permanent Bitcoin capital, like 30 to 35 billion dollars worth of it, depending on how you count it. And we can lever that, and we can lever it into the equity and into the bonds. And so that capital and that equity is the basis for the largest options market in the crypto ecosystem. So our options market is 90 to 100 billion dollars sometimes.
Guys, I highly recommend, like, anything you don't understand that he take notes on what Michael Saylor says. Anything you don't understand that what he's talking about, write it down and look it up later. Watch his videos a few times if you have to. Learn from this man. You have to. If you want to benefit a lot this cycle, you have to listen to him.
And our equity is the most volatile equity. Generally, I think we're the most volatile equity, of the S&P 500. We're more volatile than every one of them. So MicroStrategy is a basis for options traders. It's a basis to short Bitcoin, to go long Bitcoin with leverage. If you wanted to get 2x Bitcoin return via equity, when we lever up the balance sheet, we can give you more volatility and more performance than Bitcoin. And then if you wanted to buy Bitcoin at the all-time high and you want some of the upside, but you don't want the downside, you would do it with one of our bond type instruments. So really, we're a treasury company, and because we have permanent capital, the special thing is we have the largest capital base of any crypto company. We have $40 billion of permanent Bitcoin, and we also have an operating business. So we can choose to issue bonds, redeem the bonds, issue equity, buy the equity back, and an ETF can't do that. And so we're offering a lot of the capabilities that people have had in offshore crypto.
I find it so funny, that people were literally saying Michael Saylor's fund would get destroyed once the ETFs came out. And what they didn't realize is he had a better game plan than they did. Much better. Isn't that shocking?
Crypto exchanges. But those were not, most pools of capital in America couldn't go to Durabit, or they can't go to Binance. And so we're the institutional gateway for the crypto ecosystem, and that's really what drives the business.
So, a lot of people would say that having a lot of volatility on a stock is actually a bad thing. You're saying that you're proud of the fact that you create such volatility.
If you study the Black-Scholes equation, you notice that if the volatility goes to zero, the options are worthless. So for example, if you calculate the call rate, if you hold $1 million of USD and for 30 days, you're getting an annualized interest rate of SOFR, about 4.8%. If you hold $1 million of the S&P index, you're getting like 15%. If you hold $1 million of IBIT, before the options market on IBIT, you couldn't get anything, but just in the last month when the options came alive, you can get like 80 to 100%. And with MicroStrategy, you could get 200%. So the volatility actually creates...
Satoshi was Hal Finney, and he had a very sad death.
A really strong call rate. I mean, it tracks the hot money and the traders, and that's what creates the options market. And without the volatility, you can't sell a convertible bond. In order to sell a convertible bond, you need a volatility of more than 45. The S&P is 15. So if you're holding the S&P index or real estate or gold or bonds, you can't sell convertible bonds. But if you're holding Bitcoin, which is 60 vol, or if you lever Bitcoin, and we lever the Bitcoin to get to 120 vol, we can rinse and repeat that trade. We can, in essence, issue $1 billion in convertible bonds, buy Bitcoin, wait a month, do it again, wait a month, do it again, wait a month, do it again. So we're the most prolific issuer of convertible bonds in the world because we're the ones that have the best use of
Silas, it's not Adam Beck. I talked to that guy a decent amount. He's even retweeted my shit. It's not him. It's Hal Finney, dude. I know it's Hal.
Proceeds. What do you want? You want the thing you invest in to go up faster than the S&P index, and you want it to stay volatile, more volatile.
And when I say I know, I mean like 96.5% probability.
Than the S&P index. And there's only one commodity in the history of the world that checks both of those boxes, and that's Bitcoin. And if you were risk adverse and if you diversified it, if you basically had half Bitcoin, half real estate, or half Bitcoin and
I'll try and summarize, Chewy, at the end.
Bunch of bonds or whatever, the volatility dies and the performance dies, the fire goes out, and you can't keep raising capital. So MicroStrategy has gone 100% Bitcoin, and we're pursuing all those various capital markets. And there's just large pools of investors that they need to buy. The people that trade equity want equity. The people that trade options need the options, and the people that trade the convertible bonds need the bonds.
Yeah,
they can't buy 100% Bitcoin.
Seamless.
They don't want Bitcoin. They really want the other instruments, and so we provide them that security they need.
For the people that are buying the fixed income securities, would you say that you find yourself a bit of a loophole to give fixed income people exposure to Bitcoin related upside? I mean, I read this tweet and I know it's he says,
yeah, that can happen. So their time frames could be different. Young Investor says, hey, these guys from True North, first off, I don't even know who these guys are. They might be just complete fucking idiots. I don't know. But he said MSTX and MSTU was up like 18% yesterday, and their calls moved 24%, just an observation. So their time frames could be totally different. They could be taking on more risk. The calls probably are going to be better than MSTX or MSTU, especially with them having tracking errors. I'm just lazy and don't want to deal with it. I want to be able to just pump out the orders and be done with it, and I don't want to have to worry so much about time frame. But I will take a look. I don't know if we'll do it today, but we'll take a look and see what the call options look like, and I'll let you guys know, and I'll probably do at least a members-only video or something on my thoughts on what that looks like. And I'll probably do that. I'm going to try and do it before the weekend. Oh, guys, too. I missed it last weekend, but I'm going to be on the Finance Junkies. I think it's Sunday this weekend. I'll give you the time as soon as I get it. But yeah.
Hey, lend me $100. Lender, okay, what's the interest rate? Saylor, I won't be paying any interest. Lender, then why should I lend?
Oh, if Ben's a part of that crew, then they're a good crew, Pete. Thank you. Ben Workman is a genius. So if he's a part of that northern group, then yeah, he's probably right. So we should take a look at it sooner than later.
Your money. Because I'll pay you back more than you'd earn with the market interest rate. I'll pay you back in MSTR shares once they clear the strike price in the convertible note. The shares are likely to be worth much more than $100 in a few years. There are no guarantees, but odds are you'll make $200, $500, or even $1,000 in the original loan. Where else can you get that type of return from bonds? Lender, nowhere.
Good to know. Thank you. Thank you.
Has it worked? Yes. My converts have crushed all other bond stocks and Bitcoin itself for the last 4 years.
What's that group called again? And is that their YouTube channel? Sorry, I don't want to. I hate to interrupt Michael Saylor here, but I do want to know more about that group if Ben Workman's a part of it. What was it? Northern something? Northern something? Northern something? Let me know. True North. Okay, thank you. Are they on X and YouTube? Okay. All right, cool. Thank you.
Is that an accurate description of the model?
Oh, not really. I mean, it's a simplistic, it's a nice rant, but it's not a loophole. Like if I start a fire and you put the fire in a stove and you cook food, it wasn't a loophole in the laws of thermodynamics. There's energy in the fire. If I take a 40-ton weight and I put it in your backyard, it's sculpture. But if I spin it at 60 RPM as a turbine, it's not a loophole that you're spinning 40 tons at 60 RPM. It's a turbine.
So you engineered it. I mean, it's a well-engineered,
right? Think about a dam. You got a trillion gallons of water sitting in a mountain lake, and you build a dam and you put a turbine in it, and then you have a 60-foot head. You drop the water 60 feet, and you put 1 billion gallons through the turbine. It's not a loophole. There is potential energy that converts to kinetic energy that becomes electrical energy that lights up the city. So with Bitcoin, you have energy in the volatility, you have energy in the performance. A 60 ARR, 60 vol asset has an enormous amount of energy. It's like a train moving 60 miles an hour with a 40-ton weight that's spinning at 60 RPM on the back, and some normie in the US dollar world is in flatland, and he's on foot, standing on a flat earth, and he's got a 40-ton rock behind him. And he's like, well, my 40-ton rock doesn't do that. And I'm like, well, that's because I'm on a train and mine is a flywheel and it's spinning 60 RPM. And so if you can't imagine or understand it, then you think, well, we both have 40-ton weights, right? But mine's moving and mine's spinning and yours is sitting. So no, it's not a loophole, it's physics. And in this case, it's financial physics. It's just to be charitable to the people that are staring at it. They've never seen an asset like Bitcoin that is 60 vol and 60 ARR, 60 velocity through US dollar space. And because they've never seen it, they think it'll stop. It's like, if a white dwarf, spins through your atmosphere and it sucks all the atmosphere off of your planet, you're like, well, I never seen that before. It shouldn't be doing that. And it's a loophole. It's not. It's basically physics. You just don't understand the physics because maybe you just haven't spent enough time to study it, or you don't have the intellectual capability or the math to describe it.
I love that. He's like, yeah, you probably just haven't put in the work, or you're just not smart enough to understand. It's one of the two.
I mean, that's a brilliant explanation. So recently you've been very active in the markets, much more active. If I look at the Saylor tracker and I look at the purchases that you've made in the last month or so, it's about $13.5 billion worth of sales relative to, say, the total amount of sales that you've done up until now, which has probably been in 25 million or $25 billion.
I want to speed it up just a hair.
Is there a reason why you guys have accelerated so strongly now? Like why you guys have started to raise so much and started to be so aggressive now?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe to front run all the fucking governments and corporations that are doing the same thing.
The prices have been going up.
Well, I think we've been progressively getting more aggressive quarter by quarter since August of 2020. And we got more aggressive in the first quarter of this year. We did 2 convertible bond offerings in 2 consecutive weeks. That was the first time anybody in history of the capital markets ever did that. And then we did another one in second quarter. And then we did $1 billion offering in the third quarter. And then we did a $1 billion equity offering in the third quarter. And so we could see the capital markets were very enthusiastic. I think the capital markets, their view of Bitcoin improved from January of 2024 to today, right? The ETFs came out second week of January. It took a while. By the middle of the summer, they were the most successful ETFs. By the third quarter, people realized that Bitcoin was a real thing. And then, of course, you saw a political rotation. When the Trump campaign embraced crypto and embraced Bitcoin, that put a huge tailwind behind things. But what happened in November is we decided to accelerate. So we announced a $21 billion equity program, a shelf registration, and a $21 billion fixed income program. And we did that October 30th. Okay, and no one had ever done that in the history of the world. So that was the largest ATM registration ever in the history of the capital markets. So
yeah, to summarize real quickly, because he said a lot. So the raising that he's doing in the bond markets and these capital markets with these convertible bonds is literally something new that they've created in regard to the amounts, the thesis behind Bitcoin and why they're generating yield. And then again, record-breaking numbers, because there's a $150 trillion bond market in the United States. There's 300 trillion in the world. And these are the best performing bonds on earth by a large margin. So if you don't understand that, learn. There is a massive amount of demand. He could pull in, even if it was $1 trillion this cycle from the bond market, or I should say between everybody trying to issue. Like, let's put it this way. He's got an unlimited amount of capital that he can get towards this. Now, if everybody thinks that it's over for Bitcoin and it's topped, he's probably not going to be able to pull in. People don't want to buy these bonds when they're going to lose a bunch of value. So in the bear, he's going to have to use the ATM. He's going to have to use that in order to be able to tap markets. He's going to have to do other things to be able to tap markets. But the bond market money, easy in the bull. And why wouldn't you take advantage of as much of that as you possibly can? It's just an easy thing for him to do.
You know, of course, no one ever created a digital commodity before that was 60-60.
Thanks, Casper.
And so you had a new thing, you had a new political regime, you had a new corporate strategy. Then we had to wait and see how the capital markets would accept it. And so the following week, all of our shareholders got behind it. You know, the day after we announced that, our stock outtraded all the big tech companies, and it outtraded all the Bitcoin companies, and it outtraded Bitcoin. I mean, it was to the upside. So the question is, do the capital markets want to get behind MicroStrategy, you know, as the major treasury company in the space? And the answer was yes. But then the next question, November 5th, is, are we going to have a blue wave, a red wave, or a red, white, and blue, you know, thing? And we got a red sweep. So at that point, Bitcoin's a winner. MicroStrategy strategy's got an endorsement, and then you've got a pro-crypto, pro-Bitcoin White House, Senate, and House of Representatives. The market surged, and in those 4 weeks, we raised $13.5 billion of capital, and we only raised $10 billion in the previous 4 years. But you got to keep in mind, you know, this is an exponential process. You know, if I'm selling you an iPhone and you're a rich person, I might be able to get you to buy one for $1,500 and replace your $200 or $100 Nokia phone, right? And if I'm selling you a Tesla, I might sell you one. But if I'm selling you a security that's twice as good as everything else in your portfolio, how many do you want? I mean, the answer is, if you're a rich person, I mean, a billionaire wants one iPhone and one Tesla, but they would buy 100 million of your security. I had I had a meeting a few weeks ago. It was 20 minutes. And at the end of the 20 minutes, the person I met with bought 500 million of the thing, you see. And so you're not going to sell $500 million of iPhones in a 20-minute meeting. And you're not going to sell $500 million of houses, or $500 million of cars, or $500 million of satellite uplink, or $500 million of Google advertising, even though those are all good products. But we're talking about digital money, right? We're talking about digital capital. And so how much does the government want? How much does a company want? How much does a wealthy person want? Well, they pretty much want up to their risk tolerance. And so another way to say it,
he just has a huge market. I do want to show something real quick here, talking about finances for MicroStrategy. Finances for MicroStrategy, how are they doing? They're accumulating massive amounts of debt. They've got negative free cash flow. They've got negative net income. They've got flat revenue. They're really doing nothing. So from a financial standpoint, from a revenue increase, you're not going to see what MSTR is doing. The people that are buying the bonds for MSTR do not give a shit about their financials at all. So make sure that the forward PE for MicroStrategy is 909. So this is not what is going to make MicroStrategy go a lot higher. I just want to be very clear about that real quick before we proceed.
It is everybody's risk tolerance is changing, right? If Jerome Powell says,
Matt R says your finance professor worked for MicroStrategy before they started buying Bitcoin. Why doesn't he work there now? Must have been a long time ago. MicroStrategy, guys, you got to remember, This dude is actually he's the only CEO left from the .com bust. The only CEO left. So this guy's been around for a long time. So your professor could have been working for him for a very, 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 very long time. Anyway, let's continue.
Bitcoin doesn't compete with the dollar, it competes with gold. That's a massive risk that's been taken off the table. You know, if Donald Trump says never sell your Bitcoin, that's a massive risk. If you have a bill for the U.S. to buy Bitcoin in the Senate, that's a massive risk taken off the table. So what you've had in 2020, if BlackRock says, yeah, we think this is a global monetary alternative for people concerned about debasement of currencies, you can see all of those things are happening between January 1st.
Yeah, so what he's saying is essentially the macro environment is fucking ridiculous right now. I just heard that Ethereum is breaking out. 1 second here. Let's just take a look at this. Oh, I mean, it's not really. It will be. I mean, it has. Yeah, it's been going up. There's Bitcoin's bouncing hard. Ethereum is probably in the lead right now. It's probably going to break 4K. Yeah, all that stuff. I guess I'll put it. Let's look over here. Yeah, I mean, it's real freaking close, right? Outside of this a little bit, like right here, you see resistance right here, or support right here. That's going to be resistance right now. But you're right. We're on the precipice of exploding higher. Ethereum could go to 5,000 really quickly, up 5% on the day. So yeah, that will be a thing. That will be a thing. It's happening.
Of 2024 and the end of November. And so what I say is it's either something or it's nothing. It's either going to zero or it's going to a million. If it's not going to zero, it's going to a million. There's a massive battle between the bulls and the bears, the skeptics to the haters. They think it's tulip bulbs. They think it's nothing. They don't understand it. Therefore, it must be worth zero. And the bulls say it's the future world reserve capital network. And everybody with any amount of money in Africa, Russia, China, South America, Europe would prefer to own Bitcoin than a building or a natural gas field or a bunch of bonds or a company. And so as we win that narrative, and as you have expressions of confidence and acknowledgement and respect for the asset class, you're going to see massive pools of capital surge into Bitcoin. The price is going to move up, and a lot of people will buy Bitcoin. But can you see why? Like, so $100 billion of money is in Bitcoin spot ETFs. They get 100% of the upside and 100% of the downside. Can you see why someone might like the idea of 100% of the upside and none of the downside?
Sure. I mean,
it's not a complicated idea.
It's a no-brainer.
You can't create 100% of the upside and 10% of the downside without a pool of permanent capital that is a buffer or over collateral. So the ETFs don't have collateral. The ETFs don't have permanent capital. MicroStrategy, for example, can take our $40 billion of Bitcoin, and I can sell you the senior $4 billion tranche as a security, and I can say, you're going to be 10x over collateralized. So if Bitcoin trades down by a factor of 90%, you're still getting paid back. And that's a very compelling proposition for someone that's risk adverse, that's Bitcoin curious. And so all of those investors are coming to the market right now.
And yeah, so they have like almost guaranteed high returns, low risk. They could add this. So think about this. These bond investor portfolios, guys, they could add to their bond exposure. They could add 3% allocation to MicroStrategy, and that could substantially increase their returns on their bond portfolios, funds that they have. So even if they did have 5% or a 10% would just crush it for them. They're all searching, all these bond portfolio funds are searching for yield. And there is one place they can get massive amounts of it over the next year, and it's here.
And Bitcoin serves some of them. The spot ETF serves some of them. Companies like
Matt R says, what do you think about puts against Palantir to hedge the portfolio? I don't like doing puts against a great company. I like puts against a shitty company that has become increasingly overvalued and maybe has no revenue, has had a parabolic growth curve. So if I'm going to put something, it's going to be something that's just trash. It's not going to be a Palantir. It wouldn't be like a Tesla either. I don't work that way.
Like MicroStrategy serve others that are either very risk averse or they want leverage and performance.
So the debt that you issued is convertible debt. Does that mean that there's no ability for the debt holders to recall the debt? There's no liquidation price, so to speak. Is it all is the conversion in place of any kind of a right to recall the debt specifically.
I don't do deep dives on things just because they went up in price. That's not how I work, Young. It's just another fucking miner to me, unless somebody can tell me why it isn't.
Misunderstood. People think it's debt. It's convertible.
They're all going to rotate, guys. They're all going to rotate. All boats float.
Debt. It's unsecured. No recourse.
No recourse.
What that means, Ron, is that Bitcoin could go from $100,000 to $1,000. The debt's not getting called. There is no recourse. Bitcoin can go to $1. You see, Bitcoin can literally go to 1 penny. The debt doesn't have. There's no call feature, and so it's like basically someone loans you billions of dollars, and you agree that in 5 years you will either pay them back in cash or in stock. But you know what happened is,
I would not own MicroStrategy in a bear market. I would not do that. That's something you own. You own miners. You own MicroStrategy. You own multipliers to Bitcoin in a bull, and then you get the fuck out when we start getting too high.
If Bitcoin crashed by 75%, the stock would trade down. We would just pay.
Not that he can't do amazing things in the bear, but again, it's just one of those things. Cycles occur no matter what, especially when you have parabolic growth curves. MicroStrategy has a beautiful one because it's got the infinite money glitch, but you could still have a deep route.
Pay off the debt with stock. So the risk isn't in the debt so much as it's in the equity. But the point, and people are like, oh, well, that makes the equity more risky. Well, yeah, that's the point. The point is the people buying the equity want the equity to trade down harder than Bitcoin, and they want the equity to trade up harder than Bitcoin, because some of the people that buy the equity are the convertible arbitrageurs and the options traders. The options trade, like there's a lot of people that want to short the equity. Why do they want to short the equity? Because they're hoping that if Bitcoin trades down, they get a 1.5 boost or a 2 boost. That's what makes it a compelling thing. So if you don't want volatility and leverage, don't buy the equity, right? Buy the bond. And if you want something in the middle, buy Bitcoin if you want to hold a commodity, or buy the ETF if you want to hold the security wrapper of the commodity. And everybody's got different risk profiles. So we're just providing people with the kind of risk and reward and volatility that they want.
I mean, it really sounds like you've engineered the ultimate financial product. Like it just sounds like the more I hear you talk about it, the more I hear you explaining all the different volatilities. It just sounds like you've really spent time engineering the ultimate financial product around the ultimate financial, the ultimate commodity.
All right, and I 100% agree with that. We do have more data real quick, though, here. So let me just jump over real quick, guys. Yeah, the bond market is a totally different thing. You need to probably watch Ben Workman, and it sounds like these True North quant brothers. If you want to understand the bond market aspect of this better, you should look at them and refer to them. I don't want to go into all the bond details. Real quickly here, though. So we've got the Michigan Consumer Sentiment, 74. So it's better. It's a stupid high number, better than the 73 that was consensus and better than the 72.5 for forecast. So optimistic in Michigan. Michigan 5-year inflation expectations are 3.1%. That comes in with consensus, slightly lower, 0.1% lower than forecast. That's good too. Michigan consumer expectations preliminary for December says 71.6. Forecast was 77.3. So it's actually a little bit lower, but these are still not bad numbers. These kind of numbers are pretty expansionary and good-looking numbers. Michigan current conditions, 77.7, way above the 63.9 previous and the 64.1 forecast. So it's telling us this quarter is looking really good. And Michigan inflation expectations, 2.9%. That comes in line with forecast, slightly higher than the 2.7% consensus. So people expected it to be a little bit lower. We'll let all this data wash out to give us our new Fed probability. I do think the Fed probability, let's see here if it's changed at all yet. It's 90% now, guys. So again, it looks like we're still getting our Fed rate cut in December with a 90% probability, 91% almost. So that's happening. This is all good for markets, guys. This is all good for markets. Time is a prison. He's Trump effect. Jack O'Connor, thanks for the clarity on SpaceX. It almost sounds like it's more about humanitarian goals than financial. Yeah, that's what Elon has literally said. That is what he's literally said, Jack. So I don't know if, don't get me wrong, a bunch of people funneling into it short term could be good financially for you. But I mean, you're paying a lot in fees to be able to get access to private markets. So I don't love it as a bet. I think it's more like if you want to give back. I look at it that way. Logan, ArcG, that is a company. Is there something with that? Simone Rhoda, high returns for stakeholders. Okay, it could be fine, but if Saylor will never sell BTC as he has said, my doubts are how will MicroStrategy is going to positive on earnings. They won't be. Their earnings don't matter. They don't matter. None of it matters. He's created the best financial instrument on the planet for people to be able to invest from the bond market into Bitcoin and get exposure the only way they can out of a $150 trillion market that wants tons of it. Their earnings don't matter. They're buying Bitcoin with a company that has a 2.5, usually a 3x premium to their net underlying assets, which means they're incredibly overvalued. And then they're selling that or doing convertible bonds and then using that to buy Bitcoin, which is immediately accretive. And all that means is that normally when people sell stock, like CleanSpark, they've got to build out infrastructure. They got to buy a company. They got to buy miners. They got to install all of it. They got to pay a bunch of employees. They got to give them insurance. They got to do all these things, okay, for it to be accretive and go up in value and benefit the company. Michael Saylor does that, and it's immediate. It is the infinite money glitch. Infinite money glitch. I hope you realize that. It's super important to realize this. High returns for stakeholders. Okay, it could be fine, but if Saylor will never sell... Yeah, so again, you need to understand the MicroStrategy play better. You need to listen to people like Ben Workman. Time is a prison. Jesse, I bought a small amount of this company, surgical robot company named Arbot, ages ago, and just to watch it, really. I'm bullish on the technology, but I really don't know how much about the company. Do you know anything? I don't. Ron Barron says someday SpaceX will be worth more than Tesla. I agree with that. That's not going to be this year. Benny, Jesse, I have a $12 average on Palantir, and now I'm up over 500%. Seriously considering selling and trimmed some at 60, thinking that was the top, but I was wrong. So concerned if I sell now. You shouldn't look at it that way. You should look at the overbought conditions of a company that is up 1,100 to 1,200% from where it is 2 years ago and make decisions. Again, or you need to decide if you're a long-term holder and if you're just going to keep it and you're okay with, 40% downside, right? Because that's what I'm calling for with what we're looking at here. Let me go back. Where are we at? Palantir. Let me just pull it up over here. So you just need to decide if you believe in the company enough over the short term and their overbought conditions where you think that they're going to be able to make it past 8. Like, how much higher are they going to go? Tell me that. Benny, how much higher are they going to go? Are they going to have a forward PE that's 300? Are they going to have a forward PE that's 1,000 like Tesla was? Maybe. That could actually happen. Does it make any sense? No. Could it happen? Yes. Why could it happen? Because Tesla got to 1,400 for their PE. I don't think their forward PE is going to get to 1,000, though. Their PE might. But these crazy shit can happen. It can totally happen. If the news is still good, their growth rates are still good, the fundamentals are good, they can continue to go up. But if all those things don't perfectly align and they don't continue to outpace the increasing amount of their valuation, then they're going to roll over. And I actually think that they could roll over from here and you could lose 50%. That's my thought. I could be wrong. Again, I thought we were topping out over here. In the 20s, about the 30 level. So I've been wrong on that. And then we had our parabolic pop. So take it for what it's worth. But I personally would be looking towards, because again, what do you think it's going to do? Do you think we're going up here? Do you really think it's realistic that we're going up to $400 a share? I mean, it can happen, but do you think there's better bets out there? Do you think there's better bets with, like, I don't know, a Tesla or Bitcoin right now? It just all depends on your comfort level, your knowledge, a bunch of things. Logan, Archie getting primed for a move. Okay, gotcha. Let's look at that real quick here and see what they're doing. Might roll through a few stocks real quick here. So I think all the economic data we've seen today is pretty good. Oh, Archie up 4.4%. We've still got this line that we need to get back towards and above, but I do think this thing's going to explode higher. I do think there's a lot of opportunity for this to go higher. I got a decent amount, a couple 100,000, maybe a $250,000 in calls that I think can 10x, and I could make a couple million off of this if it does what I think it's going to do. And if you look at RK, which is like the tech version of this genomics play, it's already breaking out. So I think this one can too. I agree. ETH fighting 4K. Everything's fighting something. Everything's getting ready to break. Merijan Vander Kloot. All that matters for MicroStrategy is the BTC yield. Doesn't show up in earnings. Exactly. Thank you. Benzinga. What is this? What do we got? Billionaire investor Ron Barron says Elon Musk SpaceX can be bigger. Yeah, I know. But that's not a good reason to buy the stock right now from SoFi. You're paying exorbitant fees to be able to get this thing in a private markets because it's not publicly traded. And again, Elon said he wasn't going to take the company public because the financials don't make sense. So could it go up based upon people loving Elon? Yes. But it's not going to do it from a financial incentive, not over the short term. And that guy got in under private markets. He's already up shit tons of money on SpaceX because he invested heavily in Tesla. And so he got a sweet deal. He got in early. SoFi pulling back, more consolidation before a bigger move up. I don't know. Let's take a look. What's SoFi doing? I haven't looked at that one in a while. Where is my SoFi? Oh, there it is. Yeah, so SoFi, it's only down like 1%. That's not much. Again, it hit some resistance there at 16 something. Yeah, if any, I mean, this is pretty normal. Got a gap down here. I don't think we get to that anytime soon. The financial sector is going to do really good from lowering rates and sector rotation. So I think we still get to 20 on SoFi. Miners breaking out? I don't know. Are they? Let's look over here. We haven't done that in a while. Let's see. Where are things at? Looks like MSTX and those guys are flat. But again, that might be because of listing for the NASDAQ 100 that we were reading from what was it, British HODL earlier. ARB and Injective are up, still doing good. So that's the Ethereum pump, right? All the layer 2s. Optimism is one of those two. Bitfarms is doing well. Again, underperformer, now doing great. Iron's up on that list. CleanSpark's doing all right. Bit Digital's doing good. ETH is up 5%. ARCG's up almost 5%. Mara's up almost 5%. DLO's still going up. Wow. Palantir is going up. Cypher's going up. Flux is going up. Flux is such a shitty company, but maybe it'll get better. I don't know. I don't pretend to know it as well as Rex does, so maybe he's got something he's saying that I'm not. Let's see. Baba is up a little bit. They were leading earlier. Now not so much. MSTX is kind of sucking. MSTU's sucking. So again, I don't know. I might buy more. Tesla retraced a little bit, only up 0.6%. And then PayPal's down a little bit today, but I think PayPal's going to do great. Seems like some of the things that were performing well are starting to retrace while others are still doing well. I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of theme right now outside of just melting up in different areas. Kirby AI, I love the idea here. Question, what happens if MicroStrategy can't acquire BTC Satoshis efficiently enough to give a worthy yield? Why? Why is that? Why wouldn't they be able to do that? They won't be able to do that in a bear market. They could still do it in a bull market. And again, it's an average annual yield that, like, he's talking about the yield he's done this year. Then he'll be talking about the average annual yield in a bear market because he won't be able to use this year because it'll be negative, right? But then, like I said, he'll tap his ATM, and then they still have tons of money, ways to get money. There's going to be people buying MicroStrategy. There will be. But you're right, the NAV can get sucked out in a bear market. And it doesn't have to happen because people, if they're smart enough, if big players are smart enough to realize where things are going, it doesn't have to happen, but I think it will. All right, let me see here. Fucking Germany, 25 capital gains tax. Yeah, that sucks. But it sounds like they're doing better on Bitcoin, right? Benny, thanks, Jesse. I have a big bag of MSTR and CleanSpark and a decent position in Tesla, but I want more. So I could start trimming Palantir to add. Yeah, it doesn't hurt. And again, I think between the two, Tesla's already done pretty good. I think the Bitcoin market's getting ready to explode. Chuck, when I take profit on Palantir, paid 20,000 taxes, I will cry. Yeah, Yeah, depending on how you're doing it. I mean, hopefully you've owned it long enough where you're getting, or you live in the states where you're getting long-term capital gains taxes. All right, year one holding crypto and it's tax-free. Hey Jesse, could you explain the TLT trade briefly? It's a bet on the U.S. economy. So here, I'll show you. I'm probably gonna call it after this too. I think I am ready to chill and just enjoy the rest of my day. And again, all my trades, I do need to update my portfolio. Fuck, I said I would do it last night and I didn't do it. So I might have to do that. USA has more than 25. Well, I mean, it depends on how you do it, right? Long-term capital gains up to like 450,000 is in like the 10% range or 15%. And then 15, I think. And then above, up to like 2 million, I think it's 20%. So, I mean, technically it's lower unless you're cashing out massive amounts, right? I think to at least 20 on SoFi. What was I pulling up again? You guys got me all over the place. Oh, yeah, TLT. So TLT is actually, I mean, peak volumes are underneath of us. It looks like it's readying for a breakout. I think we have an ascending triangle. The minimum measured move for the ascending triangle, guys, is this. Just to give you some perspective on how much higher we could go over a short period of time. It's this, right? It's to this first fib level. So what I'm telling people, and I've got like its overshoot in here. So what I'm telling people is if TLT, if you believe that the Department of Government Efficiency and Donald Trump and all these guys are going to be pro-growth, are going to help with efficiency, are going to help towards getting us towards a balanced budget by 2029, that are going to keep taxes low, and that the economy is going to do well, and that people are going to lean into it, then you have 30% upside. Well, actually more than, 30% upside roughly before you, just for this measured move. That could happen by the beginning of next year. Maybe like end of spring, beginning of summer. So if you were looking to have like a little bit of cash on the sidelines, but you wanted it to be productive, and also you get a dividend with this too, right? Because you get that yield. Then I think that instead of holding cash, it would make more sense to buy into TLT. I wouldn't leverage TLT personally because I don't like. I mean, you can use TMF for a 3x on it. I would only do that if we're like sitting here at 99. I would be in TLT till 99. Or again, if this thing breaks down and it just kind of hovers here for a while, then maybe you could put a little bit in TMF. Because again, you could get some pretty large upside from that. But I don't know. Bond markets usually can move slower, so I don't know if that's the best play. I think just holding TLT is good. Sky Production, Dogecoin before you call it. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. Let me get over here. So we got ETH getting ready to break out. We got Bitcoin basically consolidating, getting above that breakout range, of which 99,000 is still consolidation. Even 98.9 is consolidation. Doge did a little back test here to the .786. It's run a lot, man. It's just like XRP. It's like, what do you say about the thing that's up 450%? It can go higher, but over the short term on the weekly time frame, this is the highest that Doge. Well, no, that's probably not true because this one only goes. Coinbase only has it listed from 2022, so it's probably been higher in the past. Probably need a better one for historical reference, but it's went up 450% since August 12th. Oh, did we break 4,000 on Ethereum? I think we probably did. I see beeps all over the place. Where are we here? Yeah, we did. Boom. It's happening. If you guys think this is bearish, it's not. It's not bearish, guys. Oh, hey, you know what I should do? I should redraw. I must not have been able to redraw my fibs, so we should probably do that. Need to make sure I got this in the... let me see. Where's the bear? Where's the bear? What? Let me kill this real quick. What times are we looking at? Yeah, so that's still a part of the bear. So I'm going to draw that here. So I'm going to actually draw the lowest time frame to the highest. to the lowest. So we're getting ready to break through the .382. Next target is really 6,600. And I mean, you got to realize we got Ethereum ETFs. We got ways to play this market too. I actually think it could keep going higher because of more liquidity. Joe Tong, I'm a long-term HODL Tesla shareholder, and it has become my largest holding in my portfolio. Do you think it's a good idea to short GM as a hedge? Probably not, because if you look at my options 101 video, Joe, you're going to see that everybody is involved in that position already, and there's no money to make on it. There's no asymmetric return because you're not the first person to think of it. Let's put it that way. Everybody pretty much sees the death of GM. Man, Mahendra, Jesse, I think 2025 will be the most interesting year after a long time. Yeah, it'll be fun. Render OG, Jin Zhu liked my post you shared, Jesse. Ha ha ha, that's dope. Cool, man. Gee, why is it not on the lowest part of the bar, Jesse? What are we talking about? Are you talking about here? What do you mean by lowest part of the bar? Sorry. I don't know what that's referencing, G. All right, guys. I think I'm going to call it. We got almost 2.5 hours in the day. Again, I'm going to play this. I started it off with saying Bitcoin's going to zero. I've changed my mind. I don't think Bitcoin's going to zero anymore. I think Bitcoin is actually going to go a lot higher. You guys can finish watching the Saylor interview. Does it go any further? Let's see how much longer is it? I don't really want to cut off Michael Saylor. You guys can watch it on Crypto Banner. It looks like we were halfway through. You guys can check that out. I think it's going to be a great video, and I think it's one you should watch. I am going to zoom down here, though, because I want to play this video on the exit. Peace out, guys. I love you very much. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll let you guys know if you're on Discord or X. I'll let you know if I make any additional trades today. Otherwise, you have a great day, and I will talk to you later. And let's go out with what's really happening with Bitcoin, because I guess it's not going to zero. It hit 100K, and that's what you need to be focusing on today. Peace.
Woke up, check the chart, had a heart attack. Yeah, we climbed so far from where we started at. Tell me where were you when Biddy hit 100 racks? We kept the faith, ran the race, now we run it back. Woke up, check the chart, had a heart attack. Yeah, we climbed so far from where we started at. Tell me where were you when Biddy hit 100 racks? We kept the faith, ran the race, now we run it back. 100 racks, 100 bands, 100 million sats. Hold it in my hands. Yeah, they used to laugh at us, now they wanna dance. They never bought any before, but now they want a chance. TV news reports going to the moon. A year ago, that very station told you it was doomed. I was telling everyone about it, they never heard me though. Now I'm checking my folio, getting vertigo. Woke up, check the chart, had a heart attack. Yeah, we climbed so far from where we started at. Tell me where were you when Biddy hit 100 racks? We kept the faith, ran the race, now we run it back. Woke up, check the chart, had a heart attack. Yeah, we climbed so far from where we started at. Tell me where were you when Biddy hit 100 racks? We kept the faith, ran the race, now we run it back. Shout out Gary G. Wow. Senator Warren, the biggest clown show on earth. They kept the circus going. Those ETFs received the checks and kept the surplus flowing. They tried their best to FUD, but nothing stopped the chart from blowing. Shout out Larry Fink and all the Wall Street chads. The people that were laughing at us about to buy our bags. Back in 2018, I said I'd never sell. Now they're bidding 6-figure biddy. Maybe I will. Woke up, check the chart, had a heart attack. Yeah, we climbed so far from where we started at. Tell me where were you when Biddy hit 100 racks? We kept the faith, ran the race, now we run it back. Woke up, check the chart, had a heart attack. Yeah, we climbed so far from where we started at. Tell me where were you when Biddy hit 100 racks? We kept the faith, ran the race, now we run it back.